The Shalom Israel. We come out week in, week out, and as often as the Most High makes it possible for us to push this word, so He can use it to wake up the elect of His people. So before we start, we give all glory, honor, and praises
to Yahawah, Hashem, Yahushai, Yahawah,
Now belongs to the elders and apostles in Israel who really teach well, the Akims, the Iwas and Bibles, and those pushing this word in true sincerity, the brothers and sisters in the truth. Say Shalom.
Yeah, Shalom Israel, me back once again with another lesson. And ultimately, this lesson that I'm producing for is also called Yahawah separates those who He loves. The reason why I'm doing this is because, number one, I remember when the last time I did the lesson, I made a few beautiful points, such as it is important that we get into the mind frame of learning how to teach on our own. And obviously, as the lesson progresses, I'm going to explain why it's important to do so. And obviously, right off the back of this brother's lesson last week, where he spoke about how judgment is not always a bad thing. The Most High will also that kill you in the flesh for the sole purpose of preserving you for everlasting life. And also for the benefit of you not having to endure the difficult times that are to come upon the whole world. And the lesson I'm producing today is obviously, I want to speak about the spiritual benefits of isolation, and obviously the reason why I also want to do this is because obviously it's something that the ancients don't touch upon, used to go on about in such great detail, benefits of isolation, it gives you clarity, it gives you the opportunity to actually assess and evaluate as to what your strengths are and what you need to work on and whatever have you, and ultimately what you got to understand is what the world teaches is contrary to what the Bible teaches. Understand Satan's agenda is to complete upside down whatever the Bible teaches, and that's why the society is in an upside down kind of state. Alright? So that's what people need to understand. Additionally, I want to make it very clear, because what the world teaches in regards to isolation is a result of failure, ostracization, abandonment, and neglect. Okay? But the Bible makes it very clear that when the Most High separates you, is actually not a result of the Most High not dealing with you or the Most High judging you in a negative way. But the Most High will isolate you as a result of grace, mercy, and preservation. And understand that we don't know consciously everything as to what we are given to do with regards to objectives. The Most High knows best, He knows what our calling is. To understand when the Most High might make certain situations occur is for a divine purpose. So this is why it's heavily important that we switch on our spiritual lens. Okay, we may not understand anything, as a matter of fact we don't understand everything, so that's why it's important to trust the Most High. Alright, so when certain things are taking precedence, it's all due to the doing of the Most High. Alright?
Sister Donna.
Yeah, I want to bring up two precepts to illustrate what you said.
Yeah.
I want Deuteronomy 7, 6, and 7. And I'm going to bring out this one. This is just to illustrate what I just previously said. This is the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 7, verses 6 to 9. Verse 6. There is also another thing. A city is builded and set upon a broad field, and is full of all good things. Verse 7. The entrance thereof is narrow, and is set in a dangerous place to fall, like as if there were fire on the right hand, and on the left hand a deep water. Verse 8. And only one path between them both, even between the fire and the water, so small that there could but one man go there at once. So this is illustrating the path. Only one person can travel it at a time.
That goes back to where the scripture says you have to work out your own salvation. Shalom, my brother Yahawah friend Makar.
Shalom. This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 7 and verse 6. For thou art an holy people unto the Lord thy God. The Lord thy God hath chosen thee to be a special people.
So this is the selection that I was talking about. The Most High selected God
to be a special people unto Himself, above all people that are upon the face of the earth. The Lord did not set His love upon you, nor chose you because ye were more in number.
So He didn't do it because we were more in number, or that we were...
For ye were the fewest of all people.
And yeah, just to make another point also before I get the first precept out, it's important to understand that when you come into this truth, or I speak for myself, there's a certain number of brothers that you might associate yourself with, you might be a part of the specific body, but it's important to understand that who you start your journey with when you come into this faith is not necessarily who you're going to end it with, okay? And understand something as well, when you're in and amongst certain brothers, the way, from what I've evaluated, what I've assessed and concluded is this: when you're around certain brothers, or let's say for instance you're looking at two brothers, understand that one brother's going to be more serious than the other, one's going to be more real, one's going to be more authentic, one's going to be more loyal to his objective that the Most High gave him. And understand that between two brothers, one might start off stronger than the other. Because when I first started, because I'll tell you this, I'm someone that's very introverted, I'm not someone that's very expressive in terms of talking to people, right? So I remember when I first came out the highways and byways, it wasn't actually my objective to do so. It was the brother that I used to like be friends with and who I came into the faith with. He was more serious, he was more on fire. He's the one that actually had the spirit upon him to go out and preach and evangelize in highways and byways. I was called the complete opposite. So I started off slow, he started off on fire. But as of 2026, guess what? The roles have completely flipped. You know, of all the brothers that I've been in and amongst around, I can honestly say from a teaching perspective, I'm literally the only one standing. Alright? So understand that when the Most High will separate you from certain brothers, he understands, he knows that there's a certain spirit that's operating within and amongst them. And he doesn't want that spirit or that burden, those demons to come upon you. Alright? Because the Most High has called you for a specific purpose and he doesn't want any sort of negative influence to impede you from doing his work. And just quickly before I just make it point. Everything and a lot of things is subconscious. Alright? The way we behave, the way we act, the way we talk, we inherit it on a subconscious level. And that's around the people that we associate ourselves with. And that's why there's a saying that you're amongst the 5 average people that you associate yourself with. Alright? So the Most High might separate you and cause you to be alone for a while, okay? In other words, dividing the sheep from the goats, which I'm about to go into at some point in the lesson, alright? But understand it's for a divine purpose.
Right. Just like you were saying, it's like the brother that sort of showed me certain videos about being Israelite and all of that. I expected him to be like into it, but he's like, he knows he's Israel, and that's really as far as it goes, you know what I'm saying? I'm the one that actually took it on.
And you know what, that's the beauty of it as well, because the Most High can actually dangerously use certain brothers as vessels to bring you in. Then there's going to come a point in time where he's going to be like, you know what, he can F off, you're going to be the takeover. That's how the Most High works. I never thought I'd be in this position, but here we are.
Let's say we all.
Yeah, exactly, all of us, first precept, Genesis 6:5.
Genesis chapter 6 verse 5. And power saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth.
So the Most High understood that the wickedness of man was so great upon the earth. Okay, you know.
And that every imagination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually.
So everyone within that time frame was evil to the point where the Most High felt so bad that he actually made these kind of people that had such a wicked heart.
Verse 6. When it repented Yahawah that he had made man on the earth. And it grieved him at his heart. Verse 7. And Yahawah said, I will destroy man whom I have created from the face of the earth.
So the Most High says he's going to destroy man who he has created from the face of the earth.
And you know what, there's really no difference. You know, they say there's nothing new under the sun. Like, just like how people got waxing and waxing worse, same thing today. And I believe that we're even worse now than back then. Back then, water was good enough to deal with things, but now you have to actually purify everything.
And you know what the brother just read as well, this even shows that you've got free will to an extent. How like he never made you to go off. You chose it, but now he's furthered that delusion.
Yahawah said, I will destroy man whom I have created from the face of the earth, both man and beast, and the creeping things, and the fowls of the air, for it repented me that I have made them. Verse 8. But Noah.
So, but Noah, so that's the distinction right there. But Noah, so Noah was distinguished from the wickedness, right?
But Noah found grace.
So he found grace. Like I said at the start of the video, isolation is a gift of or act of grace, mercy, and preservation. And I'm about to demonstrate that via the scripture. Okay, so it says, but Noah found grace. God.
But Noah found grace in the eyes of Yahawah.
God.
9.
Yeah, 9.
These are the generations of Noah. Noah was a just man.
So Noah was a just man. God.
And perfect.
So it showed that you can be perfect.
As we say all the time.
Yeah.
Noah was a just man.
That proves, because they tried to point directly to Christ being the only person that's perfect. But this is one of the precepts that prove that there were other people that were perfect.
These are the generations of Noah. Noah was a just man. And perfect in his generation. Noah walked with power.
And Noah walked with Yahawah. So just demonstrating that, again, isolation is not a bad thing. Again, just shows that it's also for preservation purposes. Okay, it's an act of grace. It says that Noah, despite the wickedness that was around him, the Most High took him away from that. Right? So he wasn't influenced. So the Most High had a plan with Noah. As we read on through the scriptures, the Most High established his covenant with Noah. Alright? And that would not have been possible had Noah been in the midst of these wicked people. Alright? So that's what you've got to understand. So understand that when you might be by yourself alone, or you might see a brother with you by himself and he doesn't have a conversation with him. And final brothers might be something to say, oh, it's because he's wicked, it's this and that. That's what the Most High cast him away. But you don't actually understand that the Most High is separating him for a divine purpose. Okay? Because the Most High has got a plan, as he's always done without the prophets throughout the scriptures. Right? 7.
Book of Genesis chapter 7 verse 1. Yahawah said unto Noah, come down and all thy house into the ark.
So the Most High is saying to Noah, come into the ark, right? Which the Most High commanded Noah to build. Alright?
For thee have I seen righteous before me in this generation.
So the Most High has seen the righteousness in Noah, okay? To the point where, when you, as the brother read already, Noah walked with Yahawah. So how can Noah walk with Yahawah if he was wicked? So he tells him to come into the ark. Doesn't tell everyone to come into the ark, but he tells Noah to come into the ark. Okay? Why? Because he saw righteousness in Noah. Okay? So that's a perfect example as to how the Most High might pull you away, just so you don't end up being a victim of destruction. Right?
And so, like I'm about to say, if you notice how it says, the Most High said he was righteous.
Exactly,
so
yeah.
It wasn't from no one, it's the Most High himself who is the author of righteousness. So he would know what righteousness is.
And that parallels with Job as well, because the Most High told Satan that Job was righteous.
Yeah.
You see, to get that perfection, what you have to is endure to the end. If you don't endure to the end, you can't be deemed perfect. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
And making errors don't mean you can't be perfect.
Exactly.
But when you read about King David in First Kings 11 and 4, it tells you that Solomon's heart wasn't perfect like his father David.
That's right, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
So this is the book of Genesis chapter 19, verses 15 to 28. Verse 15. And when the morning arose, then the angels hastened Lot, saying, arise, take thy wife and thy 2 daughters, which are here, lest thou be consumed in the iniquity of the city.
So already right there, again, the angel was sent from the Most High to command Lot, take your necessities, take your wife, take whatever, because the Most High is getting ready to do something grievous to the city of Sodom and Gomorrah, okay? And he says that for purpose, why? Because he didn't want Noah to get consumed with Sodom and Gomorrah. Read on.
Verse 16. And while he lingered, the man laid hold upon his hand.
And you know what? That's a key part there, though, because as much as the Most High is trying to separate him from what's going on, sometimes we can get too up with when it says Wiley lingered.
Yeah.
Instead of just breezing out for the place is going to be destroyed, man was like, oh, let me just make the bed, let me clear. No, roughly paraphrase.
Like the Lot's wife turned into a pillar of salt.
Well, with her, she went to hold on to it.
Yeah, because she
You know
was
what I'm
still,
saying? Yeah.
the weight of Sodom and Gomorrah was still in her house.
But it
So she
says
was
Wiley
breathing
lingered.
coming out.
I think a lot of people miss that, you know.
Another way to interpret it would be while he hesitated.
Yeah.
While he lingered, the men laid hold upon his hand
Come on.
Yeah, exactly.
and upon the hand of his wife and upon the hand of his two daughters. The Lord being merciful unto him.
Again, merciful, okay? Separating from the city of Sodom and Gomorrah. Why? Because it's for the purpose of the Most High being merciful towards him. Like I said at the video, start of the video.
And they brought him forth and set him without the city. Verse 17. And it came to pass, when they had brought them forth abroad, that he said, Escape for thy life. Look not behind thee, neither stay thou in all the plain. Escape to the mountains.
It's like you know what, that's like a parallel to what we're trying to do now. Yeah, we're trying to escape this, I guess, the God-forsaken place.
Escape to the mountains, lest thou be consumed.
Let's not be consumed, okay? So he's saying, get out of there. Why? Because the Most High, he was getting ready to lock down Sodom and Gomorrah for all the iniquity. He was going to completely just burn it alive to the point where the smoke went all the way up to the heavens, alright? So that's what he's telling him. Lord, listen, get the F out of there, because I'm about to do a complete destruction.
A complete purge.
Yeah, complete purge, purification, alright? Unless you get caught up in it, get the F out of there. That's what he's saying to him.
That's exactly
Really and truly, if you think about it.
That's exactly what it is. Verse 18. And Lot said unto them, Oh, not so, my Lord. Verse 19. Behold, now thy servant hath found grace in thy sight,
They found, again, grace in thy sight, go on.
and thou hast magnified thy mercy,
Thy mercy, there you go. See, grace and mercy once again.
which thou hast shown unto me in saving my life, and I cannot escape to the mountain, lest some evil take me and I die. Verse 20. Behold now, this city is near to flee unto, and it is a little one. Oh, let me escape thither. Is it not a little one? Question mark. And my soul shall live.
Soul shall live. So in other words, the Most High is preserving him. Once again, it's an act of preservation. Okay? Go on.
Verse 21. And he said unto him, See, I have accepted thee concerning this thing, that I will not overthrow this city for the which thou hast spoken. Verse 22. Haste thee, escape thither, for I cannot do anything till thou be come thither.
Shalom, Sister Rebecca Offer.
Shalom.
You know, I was thinking, imagine the Most High knew when he sent him to initially. So for him to say, well, you know, something might happen to me on the way, that's kind of like a lack of trust in the Most High, if you think about it. But the Most High still granted him the grace to say, all right, then we'll go to the close one that you want to go to. But the Most High is telling you to go over there to escape the danger. Why is he going to make you get jacked up on the route over there? You know what I'm saying?
Haste thee, escape thither, for I cannot do anything till thou be come thither. Therefore the name of the city was called Zoar, or Zawar in the pagan. The sun was risen upon the earth when Lot entered into Zoar. Verse 24. Then the Lord Yahawah rained upon Sodom and upon Gomorrah brimstone and fire from the Lord out of heaven.
Just like when you read about the flood, this is now in fire. The same way the Most High completely wiped out everyone upon the face of the earth with water, He did the same unto Sodom and Gomorrah, but this time with fire. Okay, just showing you the balance right there. But really and truly, when you actually understand what's going on here, this essentially mirrors the flood, but just with the term of just with a fire version. Okay.
Also mirrors what's coming.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
To America.
No, because they're the two cleansing agents that the Levites had to use. So if you had to clean a thing, if you cannot pass it through the fire, you have to cleanse it with water. So they're the two cleansing agents. Verse 26. But his wife looked back from behind him, and she became a pillar of salt. Did I miss a verse? Verse 25. And he overthrew those cities here, and all the plain, and all the inhabitants of the cities. It was 5. And -1 should be 6. Because the one that Lot went to, the angel said he's not going to destroy it. And he overthrew those cities, and all the plain, and all the inhabitants of the cities, and that which grew upon the ground. Verse 26. But his wife looked back from behind him, and she became a pillar of salt.
And that's the consequences of looking behind and not having trust in the Most High. Right? Exactly. Didn't think that didn't understand that the Most High had a divine purpose to separate you from the city of Sodom and Gomorrah. You trusted in your, what was it the scripture says? He that understanding his own way. And
lean not on your own understanding.
Yeah, lean on your own understanding, yeah. And that's a perfect example right there. Yeah. And the scripture also says that something might seem right onto a man, but there are the ways of death. Just roughly paraphrase. Proverbs 16:25, I believe.
Right. What it is all is that we don't really view what the Most High is giving us as worth anything.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Because you're looking at, but if it goes, what I'm really leaving is more valuable, precious than what I'm going to. You know, and that's one of the reasons why you find a lot of brothers and sisters actually go back into the world, because they're not willing. If you find something really valuable, regardless of what happens, you continue and strive for it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So for you to go back into the world, that's the same as like Lot's wife looking back. As I said, a dog would turn into his vomit.
Yeah.
Verse 27. And Abraham got up early in the morning to the place where he stood before the Lord Yahawah. Verse 28. And he looked toward Sodom and Gomorrah, and toward all the land of the plain, and beheld, and lo, the smoke of the country went up as the smoke of a furnace.
You know, and see that right there, that would have been Lot. He would, and his family would have been a victim of that if the Most High hadn't separated him from the rest of the city. Okay? So just further proving that, you know, when the Most High is going to separate you, because he has intention of destroying the inhabitant or the city that you're currently dwelling in. Alright?
Appreciate it. This is Isaiah chapter 8. Isaiah chapter 8. 8 and 16 says, bind up the testimony, seal the law among my disciples. And those are the ones that's being separated from those that are in the world.
Oh, yeah.
I want to make a point. Right. So, Lot was separated, him and his family were separated and saved. It's not necessarily because he deserved it, it was a mercy. But it was because he had a righteous advocate. That's the point that people have to understand as well. Because was it his nephew or his uncle? Abraham, his uncle, advocated for him. Because the angel came and told him he was going to destroy the city. And he had a conversation with him and advocated for him. The same thing happened with Moses, when Moses came down the mountain with the testimony, and the whole of Israel was bugging out. The Most High was going to destroy them, and he advocated for them. So we can't forget that either. Very important.
This is the book of Genesis chapter 45, verse 5. Now therefore be not grieved
Joseph saying to his brothers,
I'd say Lot was righteous in the scriptures, just Lot was vexed with what was going on in Sodom. So I'd say he was saved not just because Abraham advocated, he himself, because when they tried to go for the men then that came into his household, he was actually offering his daughter. So I'd say he was just. The scripture says he was just.
Genesis chapter 45 and verse 5. Now therefore be not grieved nor angry with yourself.
be not grieved, no angry with yourself. This is what Joseph is telling his brothers, and it's going to be a reason why.
That ye sold me hither.
So don't be angry or grieved that you sold me, because Joseph was sold by his brothers for, I believe, 20 shekels of silver onto the Ishmaelites. Alright? And this is during the period where Joseph had a vision as to what the Most High made him see with regards to 11 stars, I believe it was, bowing down to him. Okay? And also that caused his brothers to be very jealous and envious of him. Okay? To the point where they sold him into Egypt. Okay? Which from the outside looking in, that could be considered wicked, it might be considered unrighteous. Okay? But there was a spiritual element and there was a spiritual divine purpose behind all of that stuff occurring. Okay? Read on.
For God did send me before you to preserve life.
So he understands that it was the Most High, okay, that poured the Spirit upon them for them to sell Joseph into Egypt for the sole purpose of preserving life, okay? So, and that was during a period where there was so much famine in the land of Egypt. Had Joseph not been risen to king status, okay, many people would have perished, okay? But Joseph was used as a vessel to preserve the life of many in the land of Egypt, okay?
And you know what, that separation ain't always going to be an easy separation either. You look at Joseph had to go to something like 30 years in jail.
Yeah, oh yeah, exactly, yeah.
Before he actually got to the position that the Most High wanted him in to do what he had to do.
Exactly.
Verse 6.
The separation ain't always going to be an easy road.
Yeah.
Verse 6. For these 2 years have the famine been in the land, and yet there are 5 years in the which there shall neither be airing nor harvest. Verse 7. For God sent me before you to preserve you a prosperity in the earth.
So it said that, and Yahawah sent me before you to preserve you. Okay, so despite Joseph's brothers completely just like acting like a snake, so to speak, yeah. But it was all for the purpose and benefit of Joseph's brothers and themselves being preserved, and for them to have posterity in the earth. Okay.
And to save your life by the great deliverance.
And to save your life by a great deliverance. Okay.
8. So now it was not you that sent me hither.
So it wasn't you, carnally it was, but spiritually it wasn't, because the Most High had put the Spirit upon them to send Joseph into Egypt for this specific purpose.
But God, and have made me the father to Pharaoh, the Lord of all the house, of all his house, and a ruler throughout all the land of Egypt.
Right, so there you go. So just to re-emphasize the point, Joseph's brothers, from a carnal perspective, done wickedly unto Joseph. Okay, but Joseph said himself, it wasn't you that sent me here. But understand that physically it was, but spiritually it wasn't. Okay, but it was the Most High, because once again, spiritually there was a purpose behind it. Okay, it's for preservation purposes and for posterity purposes. Okay, and even despite Joseph's brothers selling him into Egypt, but it was for the sole purpose of Joseph actually saving his brothers, you know. But that's what I'm saying. You gotta look at the broader picture. Okay, this is why, like I said, you gotta be like, look outside the box, look at it from a spiritual lens. Okay, and this is why, even for example, King Solomon, yes, he went off, but the first thing he asked for was for wisdom. Okay, rather than rubies, gold, and all these materialistic substances. Okay, pray for wisdom, and this is why you need to pray to the Most High for wisdom. Okay. And this is why it's important to understand, okay, don't get me wrong, there are many brothers out there that have such exceptional teaching ability. You know how to break down precepts, you know how to break down prophecy and whatever happens.
But
the application is off, to be honest with you. And to be fair, a lot of brothers that are so intellectual when it comes to knowledge completely lack a lot of spiritual discernment. And I think to myself, how can brothers be so intellectual but lack such basic wisdom? Because really and truly, wisdom is so basic. That's what even King Solomon himself said, that wisdom is too hard for a fool, because you'll be considered a fool should you not have wisdom, because it's that basic to understand.
You see what it is? Like, there's loads of scriptures where you got wisdom and understanding in the same verse. So it's one thing having wisdom, understanding is the application of that wisdom. You know what I'm saying? A quick precept just to this is Romans 8:28. Like he was chatting about Joseph, what he had to go through, but the bigger picture. Romans 8:28, one of my favorites, says, "And we know that all things work together for good to them that love the Most High, to them who are the called according to His purpose." So, and this is what I think about times when I'm going through certain bad things. You know, just think to yourself, well, you know what, this is going to work out for my good. I don't know how, you know. In my lifetime, it may not even turn out good, but the bigger picture is, if you stick to what the Most High tells you how to operate in those circumstances, ultimately, it's going to be for your good at the end, because you're not going to be piling sin upon sin, you know what I'm saying?
5 to 6, and then I think it's 25.
This is Exodus chapter 19 verse 5, and it reads, "Now therefore, if ye will obey my voice indeed, and keep my covenant, then ye shall be a peculiar treasure unto me above all people, for all the earth is mine." Verse 6 of Exodus chapter 19, "And ye shall be unto me a kingdom of priests." And this is where Peter...
I was just about to say that, because religion will pick that up and say, yes, a chosen generation, a kingdom of priests, and but where's he quoting from? And when you go back and look, he's only talking to one people.
Right. Because this is Exodus. He's talking to the Israelites. Yeah. Verse 6. "And ye shall be unto me a kingdom of priests and an holy nation. These are the words which thou shalt speak unto the children of Israel."
And you know what? And the reason why I made the brother bring that out also, because what you got to understand is, we're so quick to say, oh, we're God's chosen people, we're the holy nation of people that the Most High has called to special unto Himself. Yes, 100% that is true. That's what the Bible says. Okay, but what I find quite amusing is that we're so quick to say that we are the best people on earth, which we are. Yeah, that's number one. We don't act it, and number two, we're so quick to say that we are this above and beyond every nation on the earth, which is true. But suddenly, when it comes to individualism, if you're by yourself, or if you're not teaching the congregation, or you've been kicked out of the camp, so to speak, then suddenly, because it's judgment, because you're a bug out, you're this, that, the other. We're so quick to be negative, okay? We're so quick to add and conclude to be a negative connotation, but not knowing that there may be a reason why the Most High causes a distinction amongst brothers, okay?
It's funny enough you should say that, because there's a brother I know that's part of a body, and from his left, he's like, he's grown in various ways in how he manages teaching with people. His workload has increased. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying it's going to be the same for everyone, but for this particular brother, I was kind of glad still when that didn't happen. You know what I'm saying? But now you can be yourself. You was kind of being restricted in certain.
But the way he's teaching now, you have to be grateful.
But not in that sort of people you put in, say, hi to, or, you know what I'm saying?
You know, and that's the thing as well, because even when you read John chapter 9 as well, where it talks about the blind individual, where 3 times he stated that it was Yahawah that opened his eyes from being blind, and the Pharisees didn't want to accept it, and they made like some sort of decree that if anyone had confessed that he was Yahawah, they would be kicked out of the synagogue. All right, and again, just showing you that, because people, like I always touch upon, and I might even do a lesson upon it at some point, because there were so many people that were actually men pleasers and more lovers of men, more lovers of men, more lovers of men than the Most High. So they always thought that being distinct from a camp, distinct from a particular body, is because you're wicked, and because the Most High cast you out for a negative reason. Okay, but really and truly, that's actually an opportunity for you to show strength and faith in the Most High, and really and truly get you to evaluate as to what you've been indoctrinated to believe, as to whether it's really true, as to whether it holds weight according to the scriptures.
Do you believe it? You know, like sometimes being left on your own or being removed from a body is going to show whether you actually believe. Because I've seen people that's been removed, and then all of a sudden, like you start changing up the doctrine that you just taught. So did you believe? You weren't removed because you believed a different doctrine at the time.
Exactly, yeah.
You get kicked out now, you change up the doctrine, or you drop out the truth. So
Yeah.
when you read it in it for the right things.
There you go.
Yeah, Shalom, your fair Israel.
So that's what we've got to take into account. We're so quick to say, yeah, we're a distinct nation, but suddenly when brothers are distinct or separate themselves, or even brothers that go out of their way to separate themselves from other camps because they understand that they come to the realization that they don't believe what they've been indoctrinated to believe when they went into that particular camp in the first place. Now suddenly they're bug out home because they don't believe in what you believe in. Now suddenly you're quick to that, cast them out and call them every negative name under the sun. We're not realizing that the Most High actually did what he did, but because we're so carnal, we don't see it from a spiritual broader lens.
I'd say this though, ask yourselves, if for whatever reason you was left on your own, like the support that you had around you stopped, be it you got separated for, like you just couldn't get in contact with them, or they removed themselves from you, would you still be in the truth? You know, like being able, I would say it, man, being able to be on your own is that's a quality that everyone needs to be able to have.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Especially being in this truth, you know what I'm saying?
Because just based on what the brother said as well, because understand that in the day of judgment, because there's about 6 of us here, and we come together as a body, but to understand that each and every one of us are going to have to sit on that judgment seat, and we're going to have to give account to everything that we've done on earth. Okay, I can't account for him, I can't account for him. I've been trying my best to be a character with so to speak, but end of the day, that ain't going to work at all. You know, that's what we got to really just examine ourselves and also understand that every man's got to learn how to stand on their own 2 feet, because again, each and every one of us are going to have to give an account on the day of judgment. Okay?
Now, the support around us is good. We're not saying that it's bad to have support, but at the same time, what we are saying is be able to be on your own, and because even being on your own, you know what that does as well? It helps to show how much faith and trust you actually got in the Most High. You know? And to be honest, I started off on my drones. Well, me and my brother and dad, but we're literally on our own. And now I've got a group of brothers around me. You know what I'm saying? Brothers that didn't know from scratch. You know, so the Most High is good like that.
15 to
20. The Bible. The Bible. You do. Why don't you believe? Which part? Let me show you something. You see what it is? It's a true book, it's just that we've never been taught properly. So when you read it according to what religion teaches, just having basic reading understanding, you're going to find contradictions. But it's the way it's taught that's the problem, not the book itself. So, let me show you something. Where are you from? Let me show you something. Some people get Deuteronomy.
I was a Christian once, by the way. I used to go to church all the time, walking the Bible in my pocket. And I've lost all religion, every religion.
Well, we don't deal with religion. What we teach, when you look at what we call it as Christianity, we can agree that it was forced upon us in slavery, right? What we follow today. Yeah, so then were they treating us right? If you expect someone that's not...
And the Bible is not nothing to do with black people.
No, this is what I'm saying. It's not the book that's the problem, it's what it's taught.
Let's talk, yeah.
So let me show you something. Deuteronomy 5 and 6. Do you know the account of the Israelites being led out of Egypt?
Okay.
You know the account of the Israelites being led out of Egypt?
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is what the Most High said.
So this is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 5 and verse 6. And it reads, I am the Lord thy God, which brought thee out of the land of Egypt from the house of bondage.
So Egypt is referring to bondage or slavery. There were slaves of Egyptians. identifies who these people are today. Because if you believe in the Bible, you know that all the nations that we read about are still around today. They just go by different names. So the Israelites, they were slaves under the Egyptians. Yeah, so when he says brought me out the land of Egypt, he's referring to Egypt, to slavery. They were slaves under the Egyptians. Now, they went into a binding covenant. And there's two parts to the covenant. The first part is to keep God's commandments, be a vulnerable one, or break them and have certain curses or bad things before you. Now, when you read verse 68, listen to this. This is one of the things that
Chapter 68. So this is the book of Deuteronomy chapter.
read 45 and 46.
This is the book of Deuteronomy chapter 28 verses 45 and 46. Moreover, all these curses shall come upon thee, and shall pursue thee, and overtake thee, till thou be destroyed, because thou hearkenest not unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to keep his commandments and his statutes which he commanded thee. Verse 46. And they
So he says those.
But I believe the thing is me,
No, but
I believe everything that was written in that book,
okay.
there is nothing holy about it. There is no prophet that you say.
Well, let me show you
It's a
something.
human being actually 20,000 years ago, or 2,000 years ago. And I'm not saying there was some very smart man in
Well,
those
let me
days.
finish the point, and then you can make your point. Where it says, and they, and the curses,
They shall be upon thee for a sign,
these curses will be upon these people that broke the commandments as a sign, which is like an identifier.
Yes.
and for a wonder, and upon thy seed forever.
When you go through the curses, some of them can be related to various people.
I don't believe in blessing or blessing.
It's just bad things. But I said some of them can relate to certain people, certain nations, but some get more specific, which identifies who these people are. So read verse 68.
Deuteronomy chapter 28 verse 68. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt
And
again
he said he's going to bring it back into slavery again. God.
with ships.
So when we look at history, what people do we know went into slavery or bondage on ships?
I've read about so many slavery books and I expert on that, and I know everything. But it was done.
You know
That
everything.
was that time. Whatever there was.
But what,
Kind of shit in those days.
what people do you know throughout history
But that was.
yeah, so one of the curses for breaking the commandments, but it didn't happen to, you can't look at the East Indian man and say there's history of them going into slavery. You might find history of them going into slavery, but not via ships. Like the Jewish people, their mode of transport was train. So read that again.
So Deuteronomy chapter 28 verse 68. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships by the way whereof I spake unto thee. Thou shalt see it no more again.
Again, your homeland. But the Bible teaches you can't be in that land. You're breaking the commandments. You get kicked out. Everything's super.
And there
Once you get off the ships,
you shall be sold.
so these people, when they got off the ships, were they sold? Yeah, and who were they sold to?
Who were they sold to?
So this is what the Bible says.
And there you shall be sold.
Hello, Jake. Yeah, you know that place where they sell the bread? Is it just, what is it called again? Healthy eating? Okay. Okay, thank you. Okay, I just did see that I got my glasses as well. Yeah, thank you very much. Talking to someone. Pardon? Yeah, I'm in Brixton right now. So, okay, we'll talk later, yeah? So I'll see you tomorrow.
So read that again.
And there ye shall be sold unto your enemies.
That's what we're sold to, God.
For born men
Slave man,
and born women,
woman.
and no man shall buy
The
thee.
word in the Hebrew means to redeem. So when we look at that's just one.
I think I did read something like that, and somebody, that was quite a while back, and he was being debunked. So I think,
Well, you can't debunk it though. Did people go into slavery on ships? And so how are you going to debunk that?
Yeah, but what are the, can you verify that? Was there another picture somewhere?
Yeah, this is the autobiography
That's the only one.
of Arnold Equianus who went
that one
into
of the ship on the ship. That means the
No,
thing
but,
is, right?
but there's various persons
Remember,
in there, so you can't.
I don't believe in blessedness. I believe in action and reaction.
So it was a reaction.
Rather than somebody cursing you. You know, I come from a place in St. Lucia, and everything is, boy, you this, people put spell on you. Right. I tell you that I don't believe in it.
Can I just make one little point to you? Because I'm from a similar kind of a country. I'm from Trinidad. It's a similar kind of a country. So you made a statement which I agree with when you said that you believe in actions and consequences. It doesn't matter how you word it, it's a concept. You do something, there's a consequence. It's even in science, it's called every action has an equal and opposite reaction. You believe in that. That's what he's trying to tell you. There was a contract or a covenant or an agreement made, and the action is, if you follow it, you're going to get certain things done for you, positive, and if you break it, you're going to get certain negative things, and he was showing you one or two of the negative things and linking it to our history, because we are the only people on the face of the earth that have been enslaved using ships. There's no other people. Wait. There's no other people group that have been placed on ships and taken to another land and enslaved. It has not happened in history except for the American Indians. Let me finish. Except for the American Indians that were put on ships and enslaved to Europe and Africa, and the West Coast Africans that were put on ships and sent to the Americans. No other people. Trust me. It's not an exertion. It's not an exertion. Yeah, you need to.
And I believe as black people, I said to the Bible, I could read you now, Psalm 69, Psalm 27. I was really ready to it. I believe that there is no Most High, because I believe, that's me. There is no Most High, there is no God, there is no Allah, there is nothing, there is no Shiva. We don't know how we get in this world. That's why it kept me up a long time.
So what into that place what you don't believe?
Because life experience of life. Every time a good thing, the Bible said, I'll bless you, I'll give you a good thing happens. Oh my God, it must be God.
Because Satan blesses
I
too.
said, oh my God, it was my own action, because I think that if God was guiding me, I would be in a complete
So
much better position.
what must you do to be blessed by
To be blessed by God. But there is no God to be blessed, to bless anybody. You bless yourself, the company will bless you. If you are smarter, if you are living peace with each other, then you can become an army and conquer people. So when people come to fight you,
Have you heard about Black Wall Street?
I know about that.
So what happened?
Black Wall Street. That tells the white man as the people. They had the power. We was not strong. Post slavery. How we fight.
Slavery weren't strong. It was like, you have to think after slavery. Look how we grew after a short period of time. But the reason why that was able to happen is come and get Leviticus
I don't think that is a very unreliable
26.
Bible. Well, it is. That is the one guys from the Lafan, people from the Lafan, area, Rome, and they're writing things down.
I'm going to read you this and you can take it like 14 down to about 17.
So this is the book of Leviticus, chapter 26, verses 14 to 17. Verse 14. But if ye will not hearken unto me, I will not do all these commandments, verse 15. And if you shall despise my statutes, or if your soul abhor my judgment, so that you will not do all my commandments, but that ye break my covenant, verse 16, verse 16,
Let me just run away and put the Bible away.
You know what?
Sorry, every time I walk by there, see there's a lot of black people giving Jesus stuff, what was so?
We don't give you that.
Everything, about 2 years now, I make my point to go to every black person preaching the Bible. I said to them, and so far, 8 or 9 attacks, every single one thing. I said to them, who's Paul Bogle? Who's Paul Google. That's why
He's a Jamaican
Yes.
indigenous person,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Free or tried to free his people
Yes.
from his enemies.
That's right. So, but the former Christian, African Christian, especially African, every fact, I say, who's not Taylor?
He's a indigenous American from the Virginias that was taught how to read, read the Bible, was inspired by the Most High, and tried to free his
So
people.
I said to them, if you're going to
Because
watch
you said you asked people and they couldn't answer.
but no.
You understand? Supposed to.
You're not
How do you know? You're assuming. That's what it sounds like.
especially Africa. 99% of the time it's mostly African speaking. Do you know if you're gonna worship somebody, it's called Google, and they die for you? Because Paul Google, he died when he was captured.
Why are we going to worship him and they're still dead? Yeah, but he died.
He died for free us, so we can have today.
Well, you know,
Jesus Christ never died for nobody.
No,
Jesus Christ never died for me. A Jewish boy, a blue-eyed boy, never died for me.
Who said he's blue-eyed though? Who said he's blue-eyed?
That's like the painting.
Yeah, but what does the Bible say though? That's on the floor.
What's that?
But this is what, and this is what I said to you. It's not that the Bible's at all, it's what they taught. And that's why your mindset is the way it is now.
The Bible was written.
Listen, I know how to read it. Here we're going to do. We're going to read it. It's going to tell it to fear God and keep the commandments.
This is Psalms. Remember, you said you like Psalms.
I love black people.
No, you like Psalms. Wait, hold on. Listen.
Peace among each other. Live in good in our community. And we progress.
Listen to this. You said you
I
like
don't need to go to
Wait.
black.
I need to read this. You said you like Psalms, yeah? You like Psalms.
I used to believe in it.
Right, listen to this. This is Psalms 53.
I realize it's just words. I don't need to pray. I don't pray
Psalms
anymore.
53 and verse
I
1.
don't need to pray.
Psalms 53 and verse 1. The fool has said in his heart, there is no God. Corrupt are they, and have done abominable iniquity. There is none that do it good.
We're going to leave it. We're going to leave it at that.
But at the moment, I'm a very proud man. I grew up really Angela Baby, George Jack, that brother. When I'm saying things about, I don't know if people take me wrong, they think, oh, you're against black people. No, I'm not.
Can I just tell you one thing, brother? Wait. You've been speaking a lot. I just want to tell you one thing. You said you want reading Angela Davis.
Yeah, Angela Baby.
Okay, so wait. Angela Davis was a CIA plant that helped to create the black feminist movement, which has which has divided our people into men and women separated. Also, she was a lesbian. So if you
Nothing wrong with that. My brother.
if
No.
you grew
My
up
brother.
reading
I find that
her,
Christianity.
you grew up
I'm gay.
reading
Are you gay?
something.
I am not gay, but I love a gay person just as much as
I know you do.
They can repent.
That's biology.
They can repent.
That's biology, my brother.
Book of Hosea chapter 4 verse 6. My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. Because thou hast rejected knowledge, I will also reject thee, and thou shalt be no priest to me. Seeing thou hast forgotten the Lord of thy power, I will also forget thy children.
No problem.
Have a good day, bro. Have a good day.
No problem. Yeah, this is Judges 10 and 14. Go and cry unto God which ye have chosen. Let them deliver you in the time of your tribulation. Now, at the end of the day, we're not here to try and convince no one. We're going to give you the word. How you receive it, that's between you and him upstairs. All right.
This is
And this is why we're continually in the condition that we're in. But it's only a remnant. Because when our people repent, when the Most High used to deliver us back in the day, we used to repent as a majority. You know what I'm saying? That's not going to happen now, which is why it's only a remnant that's going to be saved.
we're repenting as a minority.
Yeah, that's right.
And then we've got a lot of our elder men that's supposed to be leading. They're destroyed. So obviously coming up behind is going to be destroyed. Because what he's teaching, his perspective is what he's teaching people under
Yeah,
him.
there's no God.
And there's no order, there's nothing compared to what the Most High, has said.
And that's going to the most I lead you into a strong delusion.
Can I bring out myself? Yeah? This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 6, verses 9 and 10. Verse 9. And he said, go and tell this people, hear ye indeed, but understand not. And see ye indeed, but perceive not. Verse 10. Make the heart of this people fat.
That's a good example of that.
And make their ears heavy and shut their eyes, lest they see with their eyes and hear with their ears and understand with their hearts and convert and be
And you
healed.
know what? And a lot of people don't really want to be healed. They're quite comfortable in their sickness.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? The sickness, I can get a big house, I can get a nice car, I can get a job with a lot of money. So, you know, I'm comfortable in being sick.
A lot of our people don't want this kingdom to go down. They're in their kingdom as well. Even though they're not ruling, but they're in their kingdom.
A little bit of power.
This is Exodus chapter 19 verse 15. And he said unto the people, be ready against the third day. Come not at your wives. Verse 16. And it came to pass on the third day in the morning that there were thunders and lightnings and a thick cloud upon the mountain, and the voice of a trumpet exceeding loud, so that all the people that was in the camp trembled. Verse 17. And Moses brought forth the people out of the camp to meet with the Most High.
So Moses brought the people out of the camp to meet with Yahawah, yeah? You know?
And they stood at the nether part of the mount. Verse 18. And Mount Sinai was altogether on a smoke, because the Lord Yahawah ascended upon it in fire.
Descended.
Sorry?
Descended.
Salakia. Because the Lord descended upon it in fire, and the smoke thereof ascended as the smoke of a furnace, and the whole mount quaked greatly. Verse 19. And when the voice of the trumpet and when the voice of the trumpet sounded long and waxed louder and louder, Moses spake, and the Most High answered him by a voice. Verse 20. And the Lord Yahawah came down upon Mount Sinai on the top of the mount, and the Lord Yahawah called Moses up to the top of the mount, and Moses went up.
So the Most High called Moses and he went up, okay? Read on.
Verse 21. And the Lord Yahawah said unto Moses, go down, charge the people, lest they break through unto the Lord Yahawah to gaze, and many of them perish.
So just understanding that not many people are fit to have the privilege that Moses had with the Most High. Moses was also a prophet unto the nation of Israel, and he was the spokesperson from Yahawah unto the Israelites. And also they're just making it clear that there's a separation between which people are allowed to go past a certain boundary point, okay? Just emphasizing that point of separation, okay?
Verse 22 of Exodus chapter 19. And let the priests also which come near to the Lord Yahawah sanctify themselves.
So let the priests come forth and let them sanctify themselves, okay? And as you know about the Levites, it was obviously the priests that were separated oftentimes from the people, okay? Because they had a divine purpose and a specific job role for the Most High himself, okay? Just an example right there. Read on.
Lest the Lord Yahawah break forth upon them. Verse 23. And Moses said unto the Lord Yahawah, the people cannot come up to Mount Sinai.
So the people cannot come up to Mount Sinai. Okay, not everyone was fit for purpose.
For thou chargest us, saying, set bounds about the mount.
So set bounds, okay, set restrictions, okay. Not everyone had the privilege of going up, okay, because the Most High had a select few, he had select individuals as to what purpose he was going to give them, okay. So it says set bounds, and even when you really analyze it from the beginning, the Most High has always been about bounds and restrictions. Think about the firmament, okay, so dividing the waters above from the waters below. The firmament, which makes the earth an enclosed system, okay? No one can leave the earth, nothing can come in, okay? Just an example right there. So the Most High has always been about bounds, okay? The Most High has been about limits, okay? You know?
Yes, set bounds about the mount and sanctify it.
And sanctify it, okay?
Verse 24. And the Lord Yahawah said unto him, Away, get thee down, and thou wilt come up, and thou shalt come up, thou and Aaron with thee. But let not the priest and the people break through to come up unto the Lord Yahawah.
There you go, just showing you that separation point again, okay? Not everyone's equal, not everyone's got the same purpose, and not everyone's got the same calling, okay? The Most High is obviously a very smart power. He obviously understands who's going to be given what and who's going to do what, okay? Read on.
Lest he break forth upon them. Verse 25. So Moses went down unto the people and spake unto them.
Alright, thank you. So, verse Samuel 16, 10 to 13. Verse Samuel
My daughter posted a photo about some soul on Instagram. The comment section exploded. Everyone thought she posted a photo of her older sister. I'm her mother. I'm 63. The photo now has 2 million views and my DM.
1 Samuel chapter 16 verse 10. Again Jesse made 7 of his sons to pass before Samuel. And Samuel said unto Jesse, Yahawah has not chosen these.
Okay, so just to emphasize the point, Jesse had 8 sons. His first 7 sons made them pass through, and Samuel is making it all known unto Jesse. These 7 sons, the Most High has not chosen them. Okay?
And verse 11. And Samuel said unto Jesse, Are here all thy children?
So the question is asked, are here all your sons, are here all your children? Okay, let's see what I have to say here.
And he said, There remaineth yet the youngest, and behold, he keepeth the sheep.
So it says, there remaineth yet the youngest, okay, and he keepeth the sheep.
And Samuel said unto Jesse, Send and fetch him.
So send and fetch him. Why? Because this is a calling from the Most High. They called the youngest out of all the sons that Jesse had. Okay?
For we will not sit down till he come hither. And he sent and brought him in. Now he was ruddy and withal of a beautiful countenance and goodly to look at. And Yahawah said, Arise, anoint him, for this is he. Then verse 13. Then Samuel took the oil of oil and anointed him in the midst of his brethren. And the Spirit of Yahawah came upon David from that day forward. So Samuel rose up and went to Ramah.
Just to show you again that even when you take from the top, it says that Jesse once again made 7 of his sons to pass through. Okay, King David wasn't one of the 7. Why? Because King David was already elsewhere. Okay, so you can already see that physical separation right there, and then it went from the physical separation to a divine separation. Okay, because it said that King David was then anointed and to be king of Israel. And notice that he was the youngest of the sons, of all his brethren. And it fits perfectly to what Yahawah Shai said, that the last shall be first and the first shall be last. Okay? So you might be the least, the youngest, whether it's with regards to age or knowledge, wisdom, understanding amongst your brothers in your camp. But you could be risen to the top in the latter end. Okay? So King David, in this passage right here, is just a perfect example. And like what the prophet said earlier, it's important to note that yes, when there's a divine calling, a divine separation, there's not all sunshine and rainbow. There's a certain adverse point that you're going to have to go through to get to the top. But the Most High don't just separate you, and then next minute you're on the stars. You're going to have to go through adverse situations. You're going to have to go through separation, which consists of being hated, being ostracized, being completely just annihilated physically and verbally from family members, from friends, and from the world in general. Okay, just to emphasize that point. Yes, when there's a divine calling, yes, don't get me wrong. In the latter end, there is a everlasting greatness to it. There's an everlasting grace and mercy to it. But also understand, in the beginning, it's not going to be all sunshine and rainbow. It's not going to be all glitter and sugar. Okay, but that comes with the purpose and the burden of being in the truth. Right? And much as we want to say that we're in the truth and we're all Yahawah, we've got to ask ourselves the question: Are we really willing to lose everything on earth just to be with the Most High and Yahawah shine the kingdom? That's the question we've got to ask ourselves, right? Because there's going to be a lot lost, but at the same time there's going to be a lot to gain, way more than what we're going to lose. So you've got to ask yourself the question: Are you really willing to lose what you said? Are you really willing to lose everything on earth? Are you willing to lose your friends and family members and all the materialistic substances on earth? Okay? So when you're being called by the Most High, when that separation comes, understand it's a separation not just from people, but from worldly things, from worldly lust, worldly desires that want to distract you and pull you away from your divine purpose and objective. Alright? That's what needs to be understood.
First Samuel chapter.
Just quickly, what I'm about to get the brother to read is the example as to what King David went through before he was anointed king. Because everyone always talks about how King David was mighty, he was warrior, whatnot, which was very true, but we tend to forget what King David had to go through. Alright, being threatened by Saul. Okay, Saul was out to kill him, spending 3 days in the wilderness. Okay, let's go.
First Samuel chapter 21 verse 1. Then came David to Nob, to Abimelech the priest, and Abimelech was afraid at the beating of David, and said unto him, Why art thou alone, and no man with thee?
So the question was asked, why art thou alone and no man with thee? As I already read in the previous verse, how it spoke about how he was anointed as king. Okay, he was anointed as king and he was separated from the brothers for that sole purpose. Yeah, but understand here, David's being asked, why art thou alone? And that's something that brothers cannot bear, being alone. For King David here demonstrated that he was alone and no man with thee. Don't get me wrong, there was some point in the passage where he had a certain company with him, but this specific time he was alone. Okay?
Verse 2. And David said unto Abimelech the priest, The king hath commanded me a business, and hath said unto me, Let no man know anything of the business whereof I send thee, and what I have commanded thee, and I have appointed my servants to such and such a place.
Okay, just quickly, just so everyone, well, I'm sure the people that are diligent this will understand that King David is applying wisdom in why? Because he's completely lying to Abimelech as to why he was there alone, saying that he was conducting business for Saul. What the reality is, King David was on the run. Why? Because he was being persecuted from Saul. Okay, so just to show you the not so glamour instance of being divinely called by the Most High. So this is what you're gonna have to go through before we get that everlasting greatness, so to speak. Okay, so King David is in an adverse situation to the point where he has to die, saying that he's on some sort of business venture, so to speak. But the reality is King David was on the run. Okay, he was on the run. He was alone, no man with him.
Verse 3. Now therefore, what is under thine hand? Give me 5 loaves of bread in mine hand, for what there is present. Verse 4. And the priest answered David and said, There is no common bread under my hand, but there is hallowed bread. If the young men have kept themselves at ease from women. And David answered the priest and said,
The reason why he says that as long as they kept themselves from women, because if you go unto your woman and you release your seed, you are unclean until even. That's the purpose of that.
Verse 5. And David answered the priest and said unto him, Of a truth, women have been kept from us about these 3 days, since I came out, and the vessels of the young men are holy, and the bread is in a manner common. Yea, though it were sanctified this day in the vessel.
Can I just make a point there, because something just came to me? Because when, I think it's in Jeremiah, when the Babylonians took over Jerusalem, they took the holy vessels. But this is showing you here that the saints are also holy vessels. So their body, once it's clean, is also a holy vessel. That's what that scripture just said.
And just to add on the point as well, we've got to touch on grace, because this is something that was forbidden to occur. That not everyone can have shoulders, because just the precept. I believe it's Leviticus 24. It lets you know as to who and what the purpose was for the showbread. Just showing how kind and good and grace for the Most High really is. Allowing David to do something that was not permitted for him to do so. Okay? And that lets you know once again how much of a desperate situation David was in, to the point where he resulted into doing something that was unlawful for him to do so. Okay? So once again, King David didn't just live, a life that was just so peaceful and full of glamour. Right? So it's important to understand what King David had to go through before he goes to kingship status. Okay?
6. Yeah, verse 6. So the priest gave him hallowed bread.
So the priest gave him hallowed bread, which once again was forbidden for him to do so. Okay?
For there was no bread there but the shewbread that was taken from before Yahawah, the bread in the day when it was taken away.
Right. And just to make the point also, when it says King David was at least kept from women, right? Not only was he kept from women from a purification point of view, but understand that in a sense where he was separated from women, in the sense where women couldn't cause him to go off, right? Because as we know from the scriptures, King Solomon is a perfect example. Women could be a burden, women could be a distraction, okay? Knowing that King David was in a situation where he had to remain focused, he had to be his masculine frame, because he was being persecuted, he was out in the wilderness for 3 days, right? So he needed to focus, and having a woman, especially a beautiful woman, could have caused him to fall short and made him completely go off, right? So just some sign to understand that.
This is the book of Matthew, chapter 25, verses 22 to 24. That's what it says.
No, 25.
32 to 24, right. Verse 32. And before him shall be gathered all nations, and he shall separate them one from another, as a shepherd dividing the sheep from the goats.
So understand that, just a point also that I made earlier at the start, when the Most High might cause a separation amongst brothers, okay? And this is where this precept ties in so beautifully. So as the brothers wrote, I read out as a shepherd divided the sheep from the goat. In other words, righteousness from unrighteousness, light from dark, good from evil, wise from unwise, the house of David from the house of Saul, the temple of Yahawah from the synagogue of Satan.
Foolish virgins.
There you go, and that's the reason why there will be separation, and there will forever continuously be separations, because we don't understand. This is like when the brother says at the end of his precept, the one that he can do with God. You may not know what you're doing behind closed doors, but the Most High knows. We don't know what our brother's doing behind closed doors. He might be doing all types of wickedness. We're never going to know. So for that purpose, the Most High might cause a separation between you and that brother in question, because you cannot see through your eyes, but the Most High, as the scripture says, his eyes are 10 times there you go, brighter than the sun. So he's going to see, and even though you might not know as to why a separation is being caused, and as to why you might even go as far as to make sure you do not separate from certain brothers, but the Most High is going to have it as to where separation is always going to be caused, okay? So as a shepherd divided the sheep from the goats, okay?
Verse 33. And he shall set the sheep on his right hand,
The sheep on the right hand,
but the goats on the left.
the goats on the left. There you go, that distinction right there, okay? Read on.
Verse 34. Then shall the king say unto them on his right hand, Come ye, blessed of my father, inherit the kingdom prepared for you from the foundation of the world.
And that right there is a perfect example to re-emphasize the point that when you understand that when you come into this knowledge, even within the nation of Israel, it's not for all Israel in the sense where not every Israel is going to understand what is written. It's for a select few. Okay? So when it talks about dividing sheep from the goats, it's for the purpose because the Most High has called you to salvation before the foundation from when the world was established. Okay? And understand that your purpose and your objective will be completely different from your brothers. Okay? Your ending is going to be completely contrary to your brothers. Okay? There might be two brothers. One will get good, one will not. Or both might be good, but one chosen and one not. Let me just say it like that. Okay? That's what you need to understand. So, read yours, but emphasize the point again regarding the sheep and the goats, right? So it says, as a shepherd that divided the sheep from the goats, once again, righteousness from unrighteousness, yeah? Wise from unwise, light from dark, good from evil, house of David from the house of Saul, temple of Yahawah from the synagogue of Satan, right?
This is Matthew 24:40. Then shall be in the field, then shall two be in the field, and one shall be taken and the other left. It's like we were saying, two brothers or whatever. One's got a purpose for salvation, the other hasn't.
This is the book of 2 Chronicles, chapter 6 and verse. This is the book of 2 Corinthians, verse 6 and verse chapter 6 and verse 14. Be ye not unequally yoked together with unbelievers.
So be ye not unequally yoked together with unbelievers. Okay, just making a point also, just because you're with a brother and he understands the truth, doesn't necessarily make him a believer. Because the Most High understands a person's true heart and true nature. Okay, they might give you the impression, the vibe, that they are believers, but they not always are. It's not always the case, right? You know?
For what fellowship have the righteous with the unrighteous?
So for what fellowship have righteousness with unrighteousness? Okay, just remember what I read previously, what the brothers read previously, with regards to dividing the sheep from the goats. Okay, this ties into a perfect read on.
And what communion have light with darkness?
What communion or what purpose does light and darkness have intermingling with each other? What purpose is there? There's no purpose.
Verse 15.
Yeah.
And what concord have Christ with Baal?
What purpose or what business does Yahawah have with Belial? Okay, two opposites. In other words, two opposites mixing. And what purpose is there? There's not. Okay. For righteousness perspective, let me say that.
Or what part have he that believeth with the infidel? And what agreement have the temple of God with idols?
So what agreement have the temple of Yahawah with idols? The same way I said the temple of Yahawah from the synagogue of Satan. Okay, those that idolize and worship things contrary to the Most High, they're from the synagogue of Satan. Alright? Read on.
For ye are the temple of the living God.
So ye are the temple of the living power. Okay.
As power have said, I will dwell in them that walk in them.
So wait.
Verse 16. And what agreement have the temple of God with idols? For ye are the temple of the living power. As powers have said, I will dwell in them that walk in them. I will be their God, and they shall be my people. Verse 17. Wherefore come out from among them,
so wherefore come out from among them and be ye separate. Okay?
Saith Yahawah thy power, and touch not the unclean thing, and I will receive you.
So there you go. So once again, be ye separate and touch anything touch not what's unclean, and I will receive you, okay? Being again spiritually and physically purified, so the Most High can allow you to fulfill your objective, okay? And once again, when two opposites are coming to one, that's where confusion comes into play, alright? That's where distraction, that's where a falling occurs, okay? Because ultimately, when the opposition comes in and mixes with the light, ultimately it's to strip you off from your objective, from your purpose, and ultimately that's what leads to a lot of people's downfall, okay? And this is why the scriptures makes it very clear, you cannot serve two masters, okay? For this exact purpose, because you love one and hate the other, okay?
Be loyal to one and not to the other. There you go.
So this is the book of Revelation, chapter 11, verses 1 and 2. Verse 1, and there was given me a reed like unto a rod, and the angel stood, saying, Rise and measure the temple of God and the altar, and them that worship therein. Verse 2, but the court which is without the temple, leave out and measure it not, for it is given unto the Gentiles. So this is showing separation of the true worshippers and the common folks that are outside of the temple, outside of Yahweh's grace.
This is First Chronicles chapter 17. On down, bring it. 17 verse 14.
No, verse 4 to 15.
Sorry?
No, verse 4 ending at 15.
Oh, verse 4, Salakia. Okay, this is book of First Chronicles chapter 17 and verse 4. And it reads, Go and tell David my servant, thus saith the Lord Yahawah, thou shalt not build me an house to dwell in. Verse 5, For I have not dwelt in an house since the day that I brought up Israel unto this day, but have gone from tent to tent, and from one tabernacle to another.
And just quickly, just to re-emphasize that point about David, going through a period of adversity. This is a perfect example right here. He never had like an actual house of dwelling, and he's going from tent to tent and from tabernacle to another. Okay, that doesn't sound like all glamour and sunshine and rainbow, okay? So just to let you know once again, that it's not going to be all easy when you're segregated or separate from other beings, other things, okay? For the purpose of worshipping and doing the Most High's will.
Verse 6, Whosoever and wheresoever I have walked with all Israel, spake I a word to any of the judges of Israel, whom I commanded to feed my people, saying, Why have ye not built me an house of cedar? Question mark.
King David basically saying, bro, of all the things that I've been through, like why have I not got like an actual substantial / stable home to dwell in? Like come on, I've been at war, I've been going from tent to tent, tabernacle to tabernacle, like I can't seem to catch a break. That's basically what King David is saying, right?
It's the Lord saying.
I was lacking it. Wait. Sorry, it's the Lord speaking, my bad. Sorry, what you're going to read.
Verse 7. You want to read verse 6 again?
No, just read it.
Verse 7 of 1 Chronicles 17. Now therefore, thus shalt thou say unto my servant David.
Oh, so like he is the most
Thus saith the Lord of hosts, I took thee from the sheepcote, even from following the sheep.
So he said that I have took thee from the sheepcote, even from following the sheep. Okay, so he made David distinct from all the other sheep, the other ones that weren't as mighty as David, didn't have the same objective as David, didn't have the same beginning and the same ending as David. Okay, because you look at the multitude around you. For example, like right here, we're in Brixton. We look at the multitude around us. We can easily be like them. They can easily be like us. But the Most High has it where we're looking around and seeing all the multitude, and we're separate, and we're completely separate, both physically and spiritually, and they don't understand who they are. All right. And we do, okay? And there's only like 5, there's like 6 of us out of like the hundreds. Seven now, yeah. So there's 7 of us now, 7 out of the thousands around Brixton, okay? Because they could be in opposites, we could be them, but the Most High has it as to where He divided us lot from the multitude, okay? And just to make it clear, it's not to say that they can't repent and also come in at the latter end, right? But just at this current state in time, current moment in time, that the Most High has pulled us apart for a calling, for a specific objective, and that's why we're here doing the works, okay? So that's exactly what King David's going through. He was taken from the sheepcote and from following the sheep, okay?
I took thee from the sheepcote, even from following the sheep, that thou shouldest be ruler over my people Israel.
And that's ultimately what the objective was. Separate the sheep, separate him from the other sheep, and for the purpose of being ruler over my people Israel, okay? Governor of Israel, in other words, and, you know, so order can be established.
Verse 8, and I have been with thee whithersoever thou hast walked.
So irrespective of where King David has ended up, irrespective of what situation he found himself in, the Most High made it clear, I walked with thee every step of the way. And that's what we need to understand, even though we're physically alone, but the Most High has got angels around us and protecting us. Should we have faith in the Most High and what His objective is for us? Okay, that's why I can't stress enough, and that's what the brother also stresses a number of times. It's a faith-based thing that we need to understand. Okay, the faith-based thing that we need to indulge ourselves in. So despite King David being physically alone and going from tabernacle to tabernacle, going through such atrocities and adversity, persecution, whatever have you, the Most High said, I have walked with thee. Okay, that's what we need to understand.
Never alone.
Yeah, never alone, and that's what we need to digest into our minds. Alright? We're never alone as long as we have faith.
And have cut off all thine enemies from before thee, and have made thee a name like the name of the great men that are in the earth.
Yeah.
Verse 9, also I will ordain a place.
So it says that. So read up verse 9 again, sorry.
I'll read from it. And have cut off all thine enemies from before thee, and have made thee a name like the name of the great men that are in the earth.
Yeah, there you go. So He made them of one that has like a great name amongst those that are upon the earth, okay? And He would not have done that. That would not have been possible had the Most High allowed Him to be one of the hundreds of thousands of sheep, okay? So King David went from being the youngest out of all his brethren to the point where he's got a great stature. His name resembles or symbolizes someone of great stature, okay? Separate the great men from those below them, okay?
Verse 9 of 1 Chronicles chapter 17. Also I will ordain a place for my people Israel, and will plant them, and they shall dwell in their place, and shall be moved no more. Neither shall the children of wickedness waste them any more, as at the beginning. Verse 10. And since the time that I commanded judges to be over my people Israel, moreover, I will subdue all thine enemies. Furthermore, I tell thee that the Lord Yahawah will build thee an house. Verse 11. And it shall come to pass, when thy days be expired, that thou must go to me with thy fathers, that I will raise up thy seed after thee, which shall be of thy sons, and I will establish his kingdom. Verse 12. He shall build me an house, and I will establish his throne forever. Verse 13. I will be his father, and he shall be my son, and I will not take my mercy away from him,
So just on that point, mercy again, says that mercy won't be taken away from him. And understand something as well. King David was something that was subject to mercy. Because why? King David is someone that also committed adultery. And as we know, that sin is punishable by death. But again, look at it from the spiritual lens. Had King David not had that mercy, had King David had been killed, how would Yahawah have come forth? How would we have the ability or the privilege of sustaining everlasting life had King David been off by the Most High? Okay, so understand that also, just because the Most High, and again that goes back to preservation, because there's even examples. There's an example in the scriptures where a man gets put to death just for gathering sticks, but King David wasn't killed for committing adultery. Okay, because he had that grace and that mercy. Okay, for Yahawah to come forth and also for us to be in the position that we're currently in. Okay,
so the church allowed me to believe that grace and mercy is a New Testament thing.
Exactly.
There from time.
It's been there since the Old Testament, you know. So that's something we need to understand and take into account. Okay,
verse 13 of 1 Chronicles 17. I will be his father, and he shall be my son, and I will not take my mercy away from him, as I took it from him that was before thee. Verse 14. But
like just on that point also, but that's what the scripture says, I'll have mercy on whom I'll have mercy. That's a perfect example right here. It says that before I'll have mercy, he had mercy on him in comparison to the one before him where he didn't have so much mercy. Okay, so that's we've got to be thankful for the Most High's mercy. And this is where preservation comes into play.
But I will settle him in mine house and in my kingdom forever, and his throne shall be established forever. When he said that he took away his mercy from before, the person before David would have been King Saul. So that's what he's talking about. He took away his mercy from King Saul, and he ain't going to take it away from David, and his seed after him.
Because also just based on that, Rob made a good point. Because King Saul was removed from the kingship status because he didn't follow the Most High's commands. Right, when he told him to kill all the Amalekites, both sheep, cattle, whatever have you, and the people. But that was enough for the Most High to remove that mercy from him. But yet King David committed a sin punishment by death, but then yet nothing was taken from him. Okay? In the sense of being removed from king.
Yeah, two different hearts, two different mindsets.
There you go.
When you look at when King Saul went off, what did he do? He went to a flipping a diviner, which is against the law.
Yeah.
Whereas King David, when he went off, he repented from the ark.
Oh, is that 14?
No, 17.
Oh, my bad. Verse 15. Verse 15. According to all these words and according to all this vision, so did Nathan speak unto David. Nathan would have been David's seer.
Yeah.
Verse 16. And David the king came and sat before the Lord Yahawah and said, Who am I, O Lord Yahawah power? And what is mine house that thou hast brought me hitherto? Verse 17. And yet this was a small thing in thine eyes, O power, for thou hast also spoken of thy servant's house for a great while to come, and hast regarded me according to the estate of a man of high degree, O Yahawah power.
There you go, and that's it. King David went from the bottom right to the very top, from someone that was keeping the sheep to kingship status, and that's the same man that's we were going to be seen in the kingdom under Rata, so we obviously make it there.
That's right.
You know, as they say, the cream rises to the top.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah. I didn't give you 1 Corinthians 10, 20 to 21. 1 second. 5, 1 to
20 to 21.
Yeah.
This is 1 Corinthians they sacrifice to devils and not to the Most High. I would not that ye should have fellowship with devils. Verse 21, ye cannot drink the cup of the Lord and the cup of devils. Ye cannot be partakers of the Lord's table and of the table of devils.
And once again, that's just obviously an example as to how confusion could be orchestrated or can have an effect from a negative standpoint in regards to someone falling short and someone, being unstable and being double-minded, because like you want to have your portion in that side and obviously have your portion in this side. That's where a lot of confusion comes to play, and that's why some people can never really indulge in the truth and flourish the way that they're supposed to flourish.
Like I was telling you about the virgin that brought me into this.
Oh yeah.
Like as much as he gave me the videos to watch, he himself, like he was still doing the sort of shaving off the beard and everything, and hit the mustache and all that. Do you believe in the Bible?
Oh, cream up.
No, you believe in the Bible? I don't know. That's why I asked. That's why I said, do you? So what was the answer to the question? Yes or no? Do you believe in it? Baby, I'm asking you a question. So you're threatening to answer? Yeah. Answer the question. I said, do you believe in the Bible? Do you believe in the Bible? Do you believe what's written in the Bible? Do you believe what's written? So what's false? Such as, give me what? Who's here? What's wrong with this here? This way. Which one? Look, give me chapter and verse and I'll go there. One person at a time. We're being something.
So what we don't want to do is get into two different conversations.
What about it? Women can be stoned. Slaughtered. That in the Bible. They don't bleed on their wedding night. Where do you see that? Well, I'm asking because I'm trying to see where. But you know, if you're going to tell me that women can be stoned. But does it say that?
It's your Bible. Bring out the Bible.
It's your Bible too.
It's not my Bible.
No?
No.
So you don't
Never
believe in the Bible?
There's truth in the Bible, and then there's rubbish.
So what's rubbish?
A lot.
Such as?
A lot. What's
You
the
don't
truth
really.
in the Bible?
The truth is that we're God's chosen people, and we have to keep His commandments. With God, because the Bible, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Which Bible? Man-made?
Yeah.
Why? You keep the commandments? Choose which one. Do you understand about grace in the Bible? I'm asking. Do you understand about grace? No. So what is the purpose of Someone get me
2 and 11.
2 and 11.
Are you not going to go find verses?
Well, you brought it up, show me.
It's your Bible.
But you brought it up, show me.
Let me bring over the true Bible.
Oh, that's your Bible. So you believe ChatGPT more than the actual scripture. So then you answer my question that you don't believe in the Bible. Non-progressive. Why is it non-progressive? And you know why it's non-progressive? You know why you say that? Because you don't follow what's in it. So read
Titus 2 and 11. This is the book of Titus, chapter 2, verse 11. For the grace of God that bringeth salvation hath appeared to all men.
What is grace? Because I just mentioned it and you act like you didn't know. So. How much are they? How much are
I'm just going to try it. I actually have to read. I was
That's the problem, because you're coming from you're coming to the Bible from a theologian aspect. So who taught you your theology? Your Holy Ghost filled, meaning what? So if you but you don't believe in the Bible. But I asked you a simple question and you still not been able to answer. So do you believe in the Bible then? Yes or no? And what do you believe about it? What do you believe about it? The God that you want to see. So you believe in the Trinity? What then? That's what we said. How? He came to fulfill the Godhead. Explain that. What do you say?
But okay, you were telling me how many
And you believe in the Bible? You believe in God. So how do you learn about the God that you believe in? Make him go along? I'm asking you. I asked you a question and up to now you can't answer. So you believe in God? Yeah, polyester. Yeah? So what are you doing out here today? Celebrating your friend.
As you said, I'm not into it. You can see there was compactive as it come over. I think they came over to learn and to inquire, but they never. So from that, I would have cut them off. How big you would that?
So she made a statement, we should wear polyester. Is polyester mixed? If you make a fabric of
That's what I said.
is that mixed?
That's what they don't know what they're talking about.
A lot of people think mixed fabric like you wearing cotton on top or something on the bottom. Mixed fabric is this one garment
If it's
being made
woven,
of different
yes,
garments.
that's what. If it's woven
materials.
with cotton and silk, woven as one garment.
And it's not even if you have sleeves of leather and something. It's not even that. It's when you interweave the thread into each other.
Yeah, so when they're woven.
But you know what? Someone could get 26 of
It's like for the time I heard where they were going, like I wouldn't answer a question directly. I already knew this. They need to be just dismissed.
26 and 4.
Yeah.
Here's the book of Proverbs, chapter 26, verse 4. Answer not a fool.
Verse 5.
Verse 5. Answer a fool.
Because this is the one that I was applying for.
Answer a fool according to his folly, lest he be wise in his own conceit.
This is why I was answering the way I was.
Because one of them claim they've got a degree in theology, and that's why she thinks she can come against the Bible. And that's why she thinks she can come against the Bible, because she thinks she's...
Yo, keep it coming.
Because she thinks she's well equipped to go against the scriptures, but she's only well equipped in theology, not actually what the Bible teaches.
Anyway, go on.
Ephesians chapter 5 verse 1. Be ye therefore followers of Yahawah.
And you know, I like to say this, because they say there's 630 laws in the Bible. I don't agree with that, because when you look them up online, some of them double up on precepts. But the fact is, let's say they were. All of them don't apply to me.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I was going to look.
You know, I'm not a woman, I'm not a priest, so there's certain laws that wouldn't apply to us in general anyway.
And like this 613, there isn't 613. I've gone through, like I've gone on that site where they say 613, and I've gone through every one of them from number 1 to 613, and there are a few that double up on themselves. Some of them, because when they give that law, they have the scriptural reference. Some of them have the same scriptural reference, but yet they call it a different law. Exactly. What it is, these whoever decided 613, whoever decided about 613, they brought that number for a specific reason. They wanted 613, and then we're done. Because watch this, right? When you look at it like this, just to go slightly off, 66. They've reduced the Bible to 66 books, and then they have so-called 613 laws. What do you get? 666 and the unlucky number 13. That's what you get.
There's always something about it,
yeah.
Anyway, look.
Ephesians chapter 5 verse 1. Be ye followers of Yahawah as dear children, and walk in love as the Mashiach also loved us, and have given himself for us an offering and a sacrifice to Yahawah for a sweet-smelling savor. But fornication and all uncleanness of covetousness, let it not be once named among you as becoming saints, neither filthiness, nor foolish talking, nor jesting, which are not convenient, but rather giving of thanks. For this ye know, that no whoremonger, nor unclean person, nor covetous man, who is an idolater, have any inheritance in the kingdom of the Mashiach and of Yahawah. Let no man deceive you with vain words, for because of these things cometh the wrath of Yahawah upon the children of disobedience. Be not ye therefore partakers with them.
Be not ye therefore partakers with them. So all the negative traits and qualities that will prohibit you from making the kingdom of heaven, let it not be known among you. Okay, and that's why again the Most High will separate from brothers, because once again, despite them having the gift of the truth and knowing how to break down scripture, but these are the traits that a lot of them exhibit, and which is why the Most High will separate brothers from you, because once again certain demons can jump from one individual to another, and a lot of the things, yeah, exactly, and ultimately, like I said at the start of the video, I'll say it again, subconsciously we are heavily impacted. Our behavior, a lot of it, and the way we speak and how we conduct ourselves is all heavily influenced subconsciously, okay, and that's because of the people who we tend to mingle with. Okay, so that's why therefore it is important that we be therefore not partakers with them.
They're not saying spirits jump.
Yeah, there you go.
You know what I'm saying? Brothers' spirits can rub off onto you, man.
And you know what, I've actually seen it myself.
I remember when I was with Church of Yahawah, they had that rah-rah spirit. I remember I was watching an old video. Even though I was a bit more mellow, you can see that sort of
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Spirits jump, man.
Ephesians chapter 5 verse
Oh, hey. Look, the bully brothers are in the house. The bully brothers are in the house. All the brothers are here.
It's lucky.
Stop him.
Yeah.
You know what?
Bring it out. Just done some stuff. Those brothers are setting up.
Definitely respect seeing you guys.
Oh,
Not really next time I come out.
I told him about
Check your
I need something easy.
See, oh yeah, I'm doing yeah, I'll make this. What kind of same colour? That's green. I have green. I'll just get some green. Wait,
we'll just continue.
Book of Ephesians, chapter 5, verse 8. For ye were sometimes darkness, but now are ye light in the Lord. Walk as children of light.
So it says, for ye were sometimes darkness, but now ye are light in the Lord. Why? Because you were separated from darkness. Right? Shalom. You were sometimes darkness, but now you are in the light. Because why? Because now you're in the Lord, so you're walking in the light, and you separate yourself from the darkness. Okay. In other words, you put off the old man and put on the new man.
Verse 9. For the fruit of the Spirit is in all goodness and righteousness and truth, proving what is acceptable unto the Lord, and have no fellowship with the unfruitful works of darkness, but rather reprove them.
No, and have no fellowship with the unfruitful works of darkness, but rather reprove them. Just re-emphasizing the fact that, if you're with a brother that's also not serious, that same spirit, that same thing is going to jump on you the next minute. You're not going to be serious. The next minute, you're going to be falling off. Like I said, I've seen it happen with brothers that started off so diligently and started off so on fire, more so than myself. But now I don't see certain brothers.
So this is the book of Matthew, chapter 20, starting at verse 16. So the last shall be first.
So the last shall be first,
And the first last.
and the first last. Okay.
For many be called,
Many be called, yeah.
but few chosen.
Very few, so select few be chosen.
few that make the grade.
So even despite this book being only for Israel, well, not all Israel is going to understand it, and not all Israel is going to make it.
Well, that's a good example there.
Yeah, exactly. There you go.
Theology.
Well, you call it when you're ready. You call it when you're This is Matthew chapter 24 and verse 37, and it reads, But as the days of Noah were, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. Verse 38, For as in the days that were before the flood, they were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage, until the day that Noah entered into the ark.
You know what's funny?
I was going to say, that's probably the same thing with Sodom and Gomorrah as well.
Yeah. No, exactly,
They're eating and drinking until the Most High rain down fire.
And it's interesting as well because the two females that were here, Ashley was talking about, she even said that she's going to celebrate with a friend. I don't know where to go to celebrate, but it's just that same spirit.
Just his birthday or something.
Yeah, literally, yeah. But just letting you know that same spirit, that same vibration is here to this very day. Okay? Because what you're seeing right here is a spiritual ark, and we're building it. And we're trying to let people know that, listen, it's gonna rain with fire in time to come. But they want to keep doing and celebrating in world feast days.
You know what I think they can do? There's a bit, I think it's Raiders of the Lost Ark, where it's like they're trying to get through somewhere and the thing's closing down, they'd have to run and slide down.
Oh yeah, exactly. They've got sliding.
That's not going to happen.
Yeah, it is.
Get stuck.
Physically, in and out, one in, one out. Oh, yeah, go on.
Verse 39. And knew not until the flood came and took them all away. So shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. Verse 40. Then shall two be in the field.
So two will be in the field. That's what I brought earlier. Two will be in the field. What's going to happen? So yeah, two will be in the field.
The one shall be taken.
The one shall be taken.
That one's dead.
And the other left.
And the other left. Read on.
Verse 41. Two women shall be grinding at the mill. The one shall be taken and the other left.
I want to go back to what we're saying about when we come in with someone that they seem like they're all on fire, but then they kind of fizzle out and you increase.
Just showing again that perfect balance.
Yeah, so like I was going to say, and Christians read this as the one taken was raptured up. That's how they read this. Raptured up into safety. It says came and took them away. This is Matthew chapter 24 verse 38. For as in the days that were before the flood, they were eating and drinking, marrying and given in marriage until the day that Noah entered into the ark. Verse 39. And knew not until the flood came and took them all away.
So those that was taken, what happened to them? They died.
Yeah.
Those that was taken by
But
the
that's
flood.
not, it's funny how that's not how they read this.
It's the opposite.
Yeah.
No, it's funny enough actually. Once upon a time, I thought it was the opposite as well. But now I come to realize that.
Because no one's in the ark and said, and it came and took them away.
Took them away, yeah. That was 41. Do you want me to read 41 again?
Actually, not going. Actually, yeah.
Yeah, just so you can type it in.
Yeah, of course.
Verse 41 of Matthew chapter 24. Two women shall be grinding at the mill. The one shall be taken and the other left.
Right. You know, that's what I said also at the start from a teaching perspective. Of all the brothers, of all the bodies that I've been around, I'm of the select few that's also still pushing the word in truth and sincerity. And just to make it clear also, it's not to say that just coming out the house and byways is going to be enough for you to make it, because also you can't understand that not everyone's built to be teachers or what have you, because everyone's got different gifts. Obviously, I know a lot of brothers make so much emphasis on going out the house and byways, as if that alone is going to work itself.
Like, as you come into the truth as a man, you have to be heading out on the highways. But then, what about the brothers then? You know, that's just repenting. That's what it boils down to at the end of the day.
And understand that women are not allowed to be taught, don't teach the word as well. So, are women going to be condemned for the sole purpose of them not going on highways? No, they're not. So, you know, so it's something to take into account. Alright? As long as they keep the law, statutes, commandments, and they fear the Most High, and have faith, then that's what's going to really bring your salvation. What we're doing right here is just a bonus, because we've been given the ability to teach. You know? And we've been not only the ability, but also the courageousness, the boldness, and obviously having the faith to do so. Right?
Well, that's the portion we've been given, isn't it? So
exactly, yeah. And really truly, it just shows that we're actually being loyal to our objective.
And you know what? I've even seen, like I said, there was a brother in Sakari. Like, that brother's portion, when I said this brother could hold a sign, there was just something about how he held a sign. No one can hold a sign like him. Yeah. There was a brother in IYC back in the days. The way this brother used to read, he used to outdo the teacher with his reading. Like, I've never seen someone read the scriptures like him, you know what I'm saying? So it's using the portion that the Most High, that's the point. Using the portion that he gives you to the best of your ability. If it's reading, you read it to the best of your ability, holding a sign or whatever it may be. Standing post, you stand post to the best of, you know?
Yeah, exactly, yeah. As long as you're just being loyal to whatever portion the Most High gave you, which again is just faith in itself. You know, you're not looking to go out of your way to increase in something that you don't have the ability, or the Most High didn't give you the ability to do so. Alright? But just being desperate and trying to like compensate for a lack of ability or a lack of what you may have in stability, right? You're basically demonstrating a lack of faith. You just want to show that you are that guy where really it was never your portion in the first place, even to the brothers that have been given a portion.
You get puffed up with pride.
Yeah. Scripture said that was all knowledge puffed.
This is a book of the Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 2 and verse 12. Therefore, let us lie in wait for the righteous, because he is not for our turn, and he is clean contrary to our doing.
And this right here is going to tie into why, subconsciously, why people would obviously that completely discard you and will hate you without a solidified purpose, alright? Because understand that everything is spiritual, anything is all energy vibrating. Everything is a lot of the things are subconscious. So when people move a certain way, oftentimes it's subconscious. So there are reasons why as the individual will hate you without a purpose, at least without a conscious purpose, alright? And this scripture right here is going to demonstrate as to why people hate you without a conscious cause, alright?
He upbraideth us with our offerings of the law, and objective.
So read that again.
And he, Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 2, verse 12. Therefore, let us lie and wait for the righteous, because he is not for our turn, and he is clean contrary to our doings, for he upbraideth us with our offending, the law, and objective to our
And you know what?
infirmity.
That's why a lot of people get offended when we correct them.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, and I'm glad you said that, because that's what it is. Because what your spirit and what your mannerisms and the way you're conducting yourself and how you uphold yourself, how you carry yourself, is basically a slap in the face to them, because they can see the light. They can see the light and the growth and the positive vibration that's within you. Okay, and you.
Scripture does it actually. It's meant to cut you. If you're going off, it's meant to cut you to correct you.
Yeah, it's basically
get offended by it.
It's essentially holding a mirror in their faces. Yeah. And ultimately, really and truly, what it boils down to is that they don't like what they see, because that's what the brothers they constantly.
And objective to our infamy, the transgressing of our education. He professeth to have the knowledge of God, and he calleth himself the child of the Lord.
And ultimately, that's really what it is. That's why you will be hated, because they can see that you are a child of the Most High, and they understand that everything you understand and everything you teach is contrary to what they believe and what they teach. Okay, and that's where their pride comes into play, because they perceive what they understand and the doctrines to be of their identity. So that's where they get cut. When you have evidence that's completely concrete, which contradicts what they believe. Alright?
Verse 14. He was made to reprove our thoughts. Verse 15. He is grievous unto us, even to behold, for his life is not like other men's.
So he's separate, okay? He's separate, he's distinguished. His life is not like other men, alright? Many people will be a certain way, many people will believe a certain thing or a certain way, right? But you're completely separate. Why? Because you have a mind of your own. You can see things from a spiritual lens and not necessarily from a carnal lens. You can see what's beyond the wall, which is the ability that not many people have, okay?
That's where the scripture says, let your light so shine before men.
Yeah,
and they may see your good works.
There you go.
His ways are of another fashion. Verse 16. We are esteemed of him as counterfeits. He abstaineth from our ways as from flattery, from filthiness.
Right, and that's another example that needs to be taken into account as well. It says he abstaineth from our ways as from filthiness. Alright, and that's why people get cut and they get so really hurt, because you're not subscribing to their ways or to their belief system, okay? Because what you're basically telling them and what they interpret from it is that you're basically saying to them that what they believe in is complete utter filth and nonsense and rubbish. Okay, that's where they get super offended. But your way is clean compared to what they believe in and how they conduct themselves and how they carry themselves.
He pronounces the end of the just to be blessed, and maketh his boast that God is his Father.
So and that's essentially what it is. And really truly what it shows is that everyone and most people that are in the world, and even some in the truth, really and truly what it comes down to is the fact that they really just hate the Most High. So really and truly, when you're a representation of the Most High, meaning that you're set apart, you're holy, you're separate from other beings, yeah? Even though they might profess to be of Yahawah, but really and truly what you understand according to the scriptures, which is a concrete fact. If we don't align with what other brothers' belief system, they will hate you for it. And understand that they hate you because they really hate the Most High, which is why they got traditions that are contrary to what the scriptures preach. Right? So that's something that needs to be taken into account. Understand it's not necessarily personal, it's business. It's also conscious, it's energy, it's vibration.
Verse 17. Let us see if his words be true, and let us prove what shall happen in the end of him. Verse 18. For if the just man be the Son of God, he will help him and deliver him from the hands of his enemy.
Right, and that's what the Most High will do, you know, because it says, for the just man be the Son of Yahawah, he will help him and deliver him from the hands of his enemies. And we've seen a number of times throughout scripture that's been the case. You know, King David being a perfect example, you know, Joseph, exactly, Joseph, for example. I've already read a few examples, you know. Just shows how really and truly the scriptures complement one another, you know. So that's what needs to be understood.
Verse 19. Let us examine him with despitefulness and torture, that we may know his meekness.
And you know what? That reminds me of I keep bringing them up, the 7 brothers and their mother. I think there's a point in there where, you know, the mother said something to the effect of, you know, the Most High will bring you back to me in the end anyway, you know, raise you back up. So no matter what we go through, you still have to hold fast. That's why the scripture says, even unto death.
And prove his patience. Verse 20. Let us condemn him with a shameful death, but by his own saying he shall be respected.
It says, let us condemn him with a shameful death. Remember the lesson last week when the brother was saying, just because someone may die in a certain way,
exactly.
that don't mean that the Lord was bringing a bad judgment on them.
Perfect example.
Verse 21. Such things they did imagine and were deceived, for their own wickedness have blinded them.
When you read John chapter 3 verse 19, it says that men's deeds were evil and darkness, and they chose darkness over light. Why? Because the deeds were evil, and that ties into verse 21, right down to a T. You know, to the point where what their ways and their choosings have completely blinded. Because I believe it's Isaiah 64:4. I will choose their delusion, you know, and that's because you may, and just like what the brother said at the start, to an extent we have free will. Because you choose a certain pathway, and the Most High is only going to increase that delusion if you continue to
think that's the right path.
Yeah. You know, going on.
Verse 22. As for the mystery of God, they knew them not, neither hoped they for the way of righteousness, nor discern a reward for blameless souls. Verse 23. For God creates man to be immortal and made him to be an image of his own entity. Verse 24. Nevertheless, through envy of the devil came death into the world, and they
listening to what the serpent said.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, going back to the garden in Eden, you know.
And they that do hold of his side do find it.
The Most High will give you what you ask for, really and truly. You know what I'm saying?
and understand that with the devil he comes in many shapes, sizes and forms, you know. So understand that, going back to the point of separation, because someone might appear to be an angel of light, but really truly they're just there to be the devil's, there to be a deceiver, there to be the devil's agent. Okay, they'll dress themselves in sheep clothing, but they're really truly just there to knock you off the perch. Okay, so that's what something needs to be understood. I think
Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 5, verse 2.
Sorry?
When they...
Sorry, the scriptures 10? Oh, no, I read that already, yeah. Wisdom of Solomon, 3, 9 to 11. Yeah, go on.
Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 5, verse 2.
Bring it up!
When they see it, they shall be troubled with terrible fear, and shall be amazed at the strangeness of his salvation, so far beyond all that they look for. And they, repenting and groaning, for anguish of spirits are saving in themselves.
Yeah, that's because they realize that they were wrong now.
Yeah, ultimately.
This was he whom we had sometimes in derision and a problem of reproach. We fools accounted his life madness and his end to be without honor. How was he numbered among the children of God, and his lot is among the saints?
There you go. Yeah, you know, and ultimately, really truly, that's gonna be the slap in the face that many people want to receive, because they thought that you were the mad one, you were the quote unquote conspiracy theorist, you were the deluded one, you were out of your mind.
Taking the scriptures out of context.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
cherry picking.
You're believing in a quote unquote white man's book. Oh, this is a slave book. Oh, they use this to enslave our people, whatever.
Big change.
And everything is going to completely roles reverse when that time comes. The same people that you mocked and scoffed at, you know, they're the ones that will be beamed up and risen to everlasting life, you know. And that's why, once again, it's important to understand that majority of people have this mindset, and it's important that you separate yourself from those type of individuals. Because deep down, a lot of brothers, people in general, have that mindset, okay? So once again, that's why the Most High will take you away from certain individuals, so that that way you can fulfill your purpose and your objective.
Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 3, verse 9.
11.
Verse 9. They that put their trust in him shall understand the truth, and such as be faithful in love shall abide with him. For grace and mercy is to his saints, and he has care for his elect. Verse 10. But the ungodly shall be punished according to their own imaginations, which have neglected the righteous and forsaken the Lord. Verse 11. But whoso despiseth wisdom and nurture is miserable, and their hope is vain, their labours unfruitful, and their works unprofitable.
Ultimately, that's going to be the rewards for the ungodly, you know, because they didn't believe, they mocked and scoffed, and they hope, they put their trust in man, you know, their hope, which essentially means that it's in vain, and that's why they were forever miserable, you know. And when you read up from verse 9 again, it says that for his grace and mercy is to be saints, you know, once again, grace and mercy, yeah, and we have care for his elect, and how they became the elect in the first place, because they had grace and mercy from the Most High, you know, just letting you know once again that the elect are select few, okay, they're given qualities from the Most High, which constitutes of grace and mercy. That's the reward of it. That's what's good once again to be separate.
Malachi 3 and 14. Ye have said it is vain to serve the Most High, and what profit is it that we have kept his ordinance, and that we have walked mournfully before Yahawah of hosts? And that's the mindset of a lot of our people. They don't really see no benefit in fearing the Most High and keeping his commandments, you know?
Revelation 3 and
Ready when you're ready. Ephesians 6.
Yeah, 6
Yes. This is This is the book of Ephesians, chapter 6, verse 10. Finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord Yahawah and in the power of his might. Verse 11. Put
It says, put on the whole armor of Yahawah, not necessarily in terms of garment, but it means that spiritual armor, right? Read on.
That ye may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil.
And that's why you put on the spirit, the armor of the Most High, to stand against the wiles of the devil. In other words, against temptation. Read on.
Verse 12. Yeah, verse 12. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places.
There you go. Once again, just showing you it's all a spiritual battle, it's a spiritual warfare. There's a lot of spiritual wickedness in the high places, alright, amongst many people, irrespective of how they dress and how they may assert themselves, alright? It's a spiritual warfare. So understand that.
Verse 13. Wherefore take unto you the whole armour of the Most High, that ye may be able to withstand in the evil day, and having done all to stand. Verse 14. Stand therefore, having your loins girt about with truth, and having on the breastplate of righteousness. Verse 15. And your feet shod in the pre-preparation of the gospel of peace. Verse 16. Above all, taking the shield of faith.
Taking the shield of faith. So you've got the armor of the Most High, you've got the shield of faith, go on.
Wherewith ye shall be able to quench all the fiery darts of the wicked.
And this is what's going to tie into it, Revelation 3:10.
In short, faith in the keeping of the commandments.
And that's what it's going to say.
Because thou hast kept the word of my patience.
Because thou hast kept the word of my patience. When it talks about the shield of faith, the armor of the Most High, like what the actor said, having faith in the people, keeping the commandments of the Most High, that's really and truly what it is. Because thou hast kept the word of my patience, which is another great quality that's required to get by, right? And what's the reward for doing so? It's been explained, God.
Because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I also keep thee from the hour of temptation.
Because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I will also keep thee from the hour of temptation, God,
which shall come upon all the world to try them that dwell upon the earth.
Which shall come upon all the world to try them that dwell upon the earth. Okay, and once again, the keeping of the commandments, keeping the faith, and keeping the word, that's going to be a select few, all right? Understand that, and those are the people, those are the individuals that are going to be under the wing of Yahawah, that's going to help have basically be protected from temptation that's going to dwell upon the whole earth, all right? So that's why it's important to hang on to the word of the Most High. Endure to the end.
This is the book of Matthew chapter 11 and verse 6. And blessed is he whosoever shall not be offended in me.
They said, and blessed is he who shall not be offended in me, because once again, it's only a few that's not going to be offended in Yahawah. Because what does he say? Matthew 24:10, I believe it is, the love of many shall wax cold. So when the pressure, when persecution and affliction arises for the word's sake, many will become unfruitful. Right? They'll depart from the faith. Yeah? Start denying Yahawah and the Most High himself. Alright? So that's why it's blessed is he who should not be offended in me. That's why the Apostle Paul says also, be unequally yoked with unbelievers. Alright? Because you best hope that the unbelieving spirit don't dive upon you. Okay? That's why Paul makes it very clear, be unequally yoked with unbelievers. Surround yourself with like-minded men and brothers. Alright? And this is the reward for not being offended in Yahawah.
This is the book of Revelation chapter 22 and verse 14. Blessed are they that do his commandments, that they may have right to the tree of life, and may enter in through the gate into the city.
So that's the reward for not being offended in Yahawah. Okay, when you read it from Matthew 11 and 6 again, it says, and blessed is he who shall not be offended in me. And this is the reward you'll get for not being offended in Yahawah. blessed are they that do his commandments, and that they may have right to the tree of life and may enter in through the gates into the city. Okay, that's what we got to think about, the everlasting glory, the everlasting, you know, reward for not being offended in Yahawah, which the majority of people will be in that time to come. Well, just be of the select few that are not. Okay, so now we're going to time. Set back on left for the time. Yeah, I know. Wisdom of Solomon.
Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 4, verse 3.
Oh, sorry, verse 4, sorry. Wisdom of Solomon 4, verse 14 to 15.
14 to 15. Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 4, verse 14.
So, the point I'm going to make now, obviously I spoke about the spiritual benefits of isolation, right? As to why the Most High divided and separated. So as the lesson the brother did last week, as to how you know, death or judgment from the Most High is not necessarily a wicked thing. It's not because you've been evil, but it's actually more so to preserve you, okay, for the things to come. And that's how the brother concluded his lesson. And reading through the scriptures, the three precepts I got now is going to line up to his lesson we did last week. And obviously, the brother's then going to bring out as to how the prophets obviously died as a reward for being faithful unto death, alright? So, yeah, first precept is
Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 4, verse 14. My soul pleased Yahawah, therefore has he to take away from among the wicked.
But it says, for his soul pleased the Lord, therefore hasted he to take him away from the wicked. Okay, read on.
Verse 15. This the people saw and understood it not.
So this the people saw and understood it not. Because why? Because Khan is saying, oh, the Most High judged him, oh, you know, because he was wicked, that's why the Most High destroyed him. Automatically assuming there are two-thirds, or, you know, because they've been wicked, hence the Most High took them away. You know, always assuming is a negative connotation behind someone being removed from this earth in a physical manner, alright? But it's actually for a righteous purpose.
Neither lay they up this in their minds.
So they couldn't fathom it, they couldn't consider it, they couldn't take into account that it's for a righteous and for a specific purpose. Right?
That his grace and mercy is with his saints.
That his grace and mercy, once again, grace and mercy is with his saints. God.
That his grace and mercy is with his saints, and that he have respect unto his chosen.
And that he have respect unto his chosen. So once again, you've seen it throughout this lesson. I've brought out a number of times. Alright, isolation is an act of grace, mercy, preservation. Why? Because he has a respect chosen, and essentially just shows that it's for his saints. Who's going to have grace and mercy upon him. And once again, the scripture says, I'll have mercy on whom I will have mercy, right? Because not everyone's going to have the privilege of having mercy, right?
This is the book of Revelation, chapter 6 and verse 9. And when he had opened the fifth seal, I saw under the altar the souls of them that were slain for the word, and for the word of God, and for the testimony which they held.
So this is a perfect example of the saints being faithful unto death. Why? Because they were slain for the word's sake, which automatically in itself makes you separate from a majority of people, because not many people will be willing to die for the Most High. Alright? So it says they were slain for the word of Yahawah, for the testimony which they held, so they were faithful unto death. Okay? They took heed to the word that was written in the Bible.
This is Revelation chapter 20 and verse 4. And it reads, what's verse?
No, just 4.
Yeah, 20 and 4.
24.
Yeah. Revelation chapter 20 verse 4. And I saw thrones, and they sat upon them, and judgment was given unto them.
So once again, so it says, and I saw thrones and sat upon them, and judgment was given unto them. Okay, but what type of judgment is it going to be? Let's find out.
And I saw the souls of them that were beheaded for the witness of Yahushua the Mashiach.
So it says the souls, and I saw the souls of them that were beheaded for the witness of Yahushua. So that's the judgment that came with it. But are you going to turn around and say that's the evil judgment or wicked judgment? No, that's a righteous judgment. You were killed, you were slain for the word's sake, for Yahushua's sake. Alright?
And for the word of the Most High.
There you go, and for the word of
faith and works right there.
There you go. Ties hand in hand.
And which had not worshipped the beast.
Just like Daniel in Babylon, didn't bow down to the image of Nebuchadnezzar. Same thing is going to happen in the time to come. Those that do not worship the beast, nor bow down to his image, they're the ones that would have right to the tree of life. Go on.
Yeah, and which had not worshipped the beast, neither his image, neither had received his mark upon their forehead or in their hands. And they lived and reigned with Yahushua 1,000 years.
There you go. Just showing you once again being killed is not necessarily an evil judgment. It's a righteous judgment. It's like what the brother Abdul says, there's two ways to die. Either in the truth or out the truth. Alright? You're going to die for the world's sake or you're going to die for Yahushua's sake. Okay? So really and truly, you've got to be wise and pick your poison, so to speak. Are you going to die for unrighteousness' sake or you're going to die for righteousness' sake? You're going to have to make that choice. And whatever choice you make, you're going to have to bear the burden for it. But ultimately, you've got to choose that everlasting life is the way to go. And just that's righteous in itself. And understand that you'll have the ability to sustain everlasting life. Okay? Now this is going to tie into
Right, this is how the apostle died. I ran out of time. I couldn't really bring this out last week. But the brother now, brought it back so it can come out. Right, Matthew suffered martyrdom in Ethiopia, killed by a sword wound. So there you go, Matthew was killed by a sword wound. Mark died in Alexandria, Egypt, after being dragged by horses through the streets until he was dead.
Apparently.
It was, isn't it? Yeah. Luke was hanged in Greece as a result of his tremendous preaching to the lost. See that? Luke was hung because he preached to the lost sheep. Like what we're doing. Yeah. John faced martyrdom when he was boiled in a huge basin of boiling oil during a wave of persecution in Rome. But watch this. However, he was miraculously delivered from death. John was then sentenced because he was delivered from death. John was then sentenced to the mines on the prison island of Patmos. Yeah, he wrote his prophetic book of Revelations on Patmos. The Apostle John was later freed and returned to serve as bishop in Ezada in modern Turkey. He died an old man, the only apostle to die peacefully. Which is, Now Peter, which is the rock of the church, he was crucified upside down on an X-shaped cross. According to church tradition, it was because he told his tormentors that he felt unworthy to die in the same way that Yahushua Christ had died. James, the leader of the church in Jerusalem, was thrown over 100 feet down from the southeast pinnacle of the temple when he refused to deny his faith in Yahushua. When they discovered that he survived the fall, his enemies beat James to death with a fuller's club. Now, this was the same pinnacle where Satan had taken up Yahushua during his temptation. Now they're beaten with a fuller's club. I don't know if you've ever seen a fuller's club. A fuller's club is a short baton, like a rounder's baton, with them in little indentation like spikes. That's what a fuller's club is. Now James, the son of Zebedee, was a fisherman by trade when Yahawah called him to a lifetime of ministry as a strong leader of the church. James was beheaded at Jerusalem. The Roman officer who guarded James watched amazed as James defended his faith at his trial. Later, the officer walked beside James to the place of execution. Overcome by conviction, he declared his new faith to the judge and knelt beside James to accept beheading as a follower of Yahawah. Bartholomew, also known as Nathaniel, was a missionary to Asia. He witnessed for our Lord the present day. He witnessed for our Lord in present-day Turkey. Bartholomew was martyred for his preaching in Armenia, where he was flayed to death by a whip. Now, you know those Catalans? He was beaten to death with one of them. Yeah? So that, you know, like they rip flesh on every stroke. That's what they do. Andrew was crucified on an X-shaped cross in Patmos, Greece. After being whipped severely by 7 soldiers, then tied his body to the cross with cords to prolong his agony, his followers reported that when he was led towards the cross, Andrew saluted it in these words: "I have long desired and expected this happy hour." Imagine that, this happy hour.
You know, it's funny, that's what you get in some of these bars. There's something happy hour as well.
you never know. The cross had been consecrated by the body of Christ hanging on it. He continued to preach to his tormentors for 2 days until he expired. So he had there 2 days preaching to his tormentors till he gave up the ghost, let's say. Thomas was stabbed with a spear in India during one of his missionary trips to establish the church in the subcontinent. Jude was killed with arrows when he refused to deny his faith in Yahawah. Matthias, the apostle chosen to replace the traitor Judas Iscariot, was stoned and then beheaded. Stephen, as we know, you can read about Stephen in Acts chapter 7. Stephen was cast out of the city and stoned to death, seeing heaven open up and the glory of Yahawah. Paul was tortured and then beheaded by the evil Emperor Nero at Rome in AD 67. Paul endured a lengthy imprisonment, which allowed him to write his many epistles to the church he had formed throughout the Roman Empire. These letters, which taught many of the thank you. These letters, which taught many of the foundational doctrines of Christianity, formed from large portions of the New Testament. And it just goes on to say, perhaps this is a reminder to us that our sufferings here are indeed minor compared to the intense persecution and cold cruelty faced by the apostles and disciples during their time for the sake of the faith. There you have it.
And as a point of concluding the lesson, just to make it known again, as you know, the brother got the opportunity to bring out with regards to how the apostles and how they died and whatnot, just letting you know that once again, judgment is not always an easy thing. And when the Most High divided and separated, whether it's via death, whether it's via physical separation, there's a lot of grace and mercy and a divine purpose to it. Right? It's because you're being called, there's an objective that the Most High has given you, and it's eliminating distractions from you that are not profitable for you. Right? So understand that it's not a bad thing not that the Most High has cast you out or you're ostracized because, or not because you're a failure, you've been abandoned, you've been neglected, or whatever have you. What society will teach you, understand that it's for a divine purpose once again, because prophecy needs to be fulfilled, right? And that's also a purpose of separation, for prophecy to be fulfilled. Because if you look at us as a body, we've been in amongst about numerous brothers, but right now the Most High has brothers where He wants them. Because even the brothers that came today, Daniela and Meshach, we're all one body, but the Most High has it where they're separated from us to the point where they can push the word out now in other parts of London, where they choose to preach, you know. So although really and truly it would be so amazing loving if we have certain brothers around us, but understand that there's a broader issue or a broader lens that we need to acknowledge. Okay, because if we're all stacked in one area, how can then the word be pushed out in other regions in London? Right? How can the Most High's word then come out, and how can people be edified? Okay, so that's why it's important to understand that separation has way more spiritual benefits than implications, right? And therefore, trust in the Most High, and therefore don't be afraid to be out there by yourself. Because like I said, I came into this truth with a number of a few brothers, and now all the brothers that I'm mixed with, I'm back at Yahawah's messages, because the brothers I was previously, they're nowhere to be seen, they don't teach the word no more. I'm literally the only man standing, alright? And even myself, just quickly, there was a period where I was on my own teaching for about a year. I left Yahawah's messages at one point, then a few years after, I came back. And it's all to do with the spirit and power of the Most High Yahawah, and you've got to let it be, right? That's really the best way to go about it. Just demonstrate how much faith you have in the Most High Yahawah, and with that I yield.
Yeah, I just want to quickly say, the main thing about death is going to happen, whether you like it or not, it's inevitable. But here's the thing, it's not dying that's the issue, it's how you do it. Whether you're in the truth or out the truth, that's the key.
So, yeah, for me, peace and blessings.
What do you see? What do you see? Ready? Yeah. This is the book of Proverbs 20 and verse 24. It reads, man's goings are of the Lord Yahawah. How can a man then understand his own way?
How can he indeed?
Deuteronomy chapter 30 and verse 2, and shall return unto the Adonai Yahawah thy power, and shall obey his voice according to all that I command thee this day, thou and thy children, with all thine heart and with all thy soul. 144,000%.
We were never slaves.
Chapter 15 and verse 10. Likewise I say unto you, there is joy in the presence of the angels of God over one sinner that repented.
Yes.
God. This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 31, verse 6. Be strong, be of good courage, fear not, nor be afraid of them. For the Lord thy God, he will do it and go with thee, and he will not fail thee, nor forsake thee.
The book of Hebrews, chapter 10, verse 31. Is a fearful thing to fall into the hands of the living power. We said that with the book of Psalms, chapter 50, verse 22. Now consider this, ye that forget Yahawah, he shall tear you in pieces, and there be none to deliver.
I'm going to go straight in Proverbs 4 and 7. Wisdom is a principal thing. Therefore, get wisdom, and with all thy getting, get understanding. Not overstanding, understanding. And I'm going to jump to Psalms 111 verse 10, and it reads, the fear of Yahawah is the beginning of wisdom. A good understanding have all they that do his commandments. His praise endureth.
I will love you.
And there you have it. And with that, we're going to go to the conclusion of the whole matter. Everything we brought out prior, what the brother brought out beautifully today, and lessons to come. This is Ecclesiastes chapter 12 and verse 13. And it reads, let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear Yahawah and keep his commandments. For this is the whole duty of man, every Israelite man, woman, and child. verse 14. For Yahawah shall bring every work into judgment with every secret thing, whether it be good or whether it be evil. And you know what? That verse just proves that judgment's going out, whether it's good, you do good, or bad. But judgment isn't always a bad thing. If you're doing good, that judgment is going to be a good thing. Go.
Come on, Sharala.
Yeah, so for everyone that tuned in for the precepts, Lord willing, the lesson was edifying, but with that, we're going to close out all glory on the praises.
To Yahawah, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Wahab, Rakat, Kadash. Come on, Sharala.
So what lababar, a bad lababar.
And what the prophet's going to say.
Shalom.
And there you have it. With that, we out.